there's any your colors.
Out of this. Ascian in center.
What are you gonna do? You're one conjurer with like a skinny little wolf. Do you know who the fuck I am? I'm the Warrior of Light, baby.
This is a pirate town, a place for strong folk. If you wants to be strong, he needs a big strong hound. And just so happens we sell 'em for a million gil each. It's right bloody bargain.
Sure.
Welcome everybody to MogTalk. Ethys, you gotta hold it together, man. We gotta get through the intro. Okay. If you guys have not watched the show before, it's a podcast based around the Final Fantasy XIV community discussing everything from Savage Raiding to Chocobo Racing. And today we are discussing 2018 for Final Fantasy XIV. And you guys might be wondering, what does that mean? What is the topics? I don't really understand what that is. Well, MogTalk has been on a hiatus for about a month now due to the holidays and due to my work schedule and everything else. And so this is the first show we've had this year. And so I figured the best way to discuss topics today would be just to bring up everything about Final Fantasy XIV in 2018, what we can expect, and if we're actually kind of excited about it or not. I don't know. I guess we'll see. So before we get too deep into it, I do want to introduce our guests here. Both have been on the show multiple different times. First, let me introduce Mr. Balana, the majestic beard, who I think got famous in Japan for that one episode for a good week or two during Ultimate Rating.
Yeah, apparently I'm huge in Japan now.
Yeah, you're a huge beard guy in Japan right now.
Yeah.
So everyone, tell everyone who you are, Balana. Just give me
Yeah, I'm Balana or Joe. I've been involved in the leadership of the free company Elysium since before Heaven's Word. And so I play casters mostly in the guild there, and I am excited to be here. Glad to be on your show. It's been a hot minute, Frosty.
It's been a hot minute. Hot, stinky minute. Now we've flushed the toilet. We got you back in here. All right. The next person on the... Ethys just can't. What's up, dude? How you doing, Ethys? Yeah,
hey guys, what's up?
Tell everyone who you are, dude.
I'm Ethys. I make videos on YouTube where I want people to take me seriously, and then I sabotage that illusion on Twitch several times a week. Hi everyone.
Hey.
Hi.
If you guys don't know, Ethys is like a lore geek, is what I'm gonna call you. A lore dork, a lore loser for Final Fantasy XIV. Who knows? Pretty much everything. I would say close to everything, and should give us some good insight here on what, Final Fantasy XIV lore and story might be bringing.
I should. I don't know if I want to now. Jeez.
I mean, shit.
Getting built up a little bit too much here. You can handle the pressure.
I don't know if I could live up to lore loser.
Oh, jeez. I'm just trying to find ways to give you shit, man. I don't know why, but you're like... you're a healthy punching bag. There's like punching bags where it's unhealthy to sit there and make fun of somebody. But for you, for some reason, it feels like if I make fun of you, it's not bad. Like, it's okay.
Yeah. No, I get that.
Right.
I used to think that way about Sly, but now I feel bad sometimes.
You feel bad. I don't know. You just have like, if I talk crap to you, if I make a bad joke about you at this, I feel like you're just like, I don't really give a shit. And you're okay with it the next second. So.
When really inside I'm like,
Jesus. Well, I hope that's not true, because then I'm gonna feel pretty bad after this show, because we have a lot of punches to throw. Anyways, everybody, today again our topic's 2018. There's a handful of things I want to talk about. We all play Final Fantasy XIV for different reasons. We have different things that draw us in. Usually it ends up being just a place that we are familiar with, that we can come and talk with other people. But Final Fantasy XIV brings people in for pretty much Final Fantasy 14. It's or not Final Fantasy 14, but Final Fantasy in general. The whole game of Final Fantasy, all the different games and everything else, all the different characters, the nostalgia that you have from your youth playing Final Fantasy 4, 5, 6, 7, all that. And you come here and you geek out with people, or at least that's what I think Final Fantasy 14 really is. I mean, would you guys kind of agree that's the main draw of the game?
Yeah, it's kind of like a Final Fantasy theme park where they take little bits from like all the other games. They do have, you know, their own original content, which is kind of the main story quest, which has some, you know, little derivative bits from previous games, but for the most part, it's their own original thing, and that's pretty good too. So you get the flavor of all the old ones plus a new one.
Right. So I think that I want to discuss a little bit about when people keep playing this game. Why do people keep playing this game? Because we're coming into this new year. A lot of us have already played this game. People watching the show have likely played this game for quite a while. But what keeps us playing this game at the moment? Is it besides the general MMO aspect? All right. Yes, it's a place you know people, you could talk to them, and there's a community and everything else. But what else in this game kind of keeps you engaged with it? At this, I got a couple guesses about what could be your main interest. But if you had to assume other people's interest, all right, what would you say that was?
I think one of the sort of more exceptional things about Final Fantasy XIV, even opposed to other MMORPGs, is the fact that it appeals to a bunch of different types of people for different reasons, which is, I guess, what makes this a bit of a difficult question. But you know, it's appealing to raiders. Raiders keep coming back because, you know, the raids are sort of dynamic and interesting and reasonably challenging. People that are, again, into that sort of Final Fantasy theme park sort of thing. Each new patch brings in some more fan service that people want to come back for. The story always delivers. For the most part, for me, it's about the community. And the fact that, you know, it's this really awesome community that I feel super invested in. But so people are committed for a whole bunch of different reasons.
I think it's that the variety of reasons why people enjoy it is the reason why you get such a great communities, because you get a diverse group of people coming together for enjoyment of a singular thing.
Okay, so you think that like the fact that we have triple triad, Chocobo racing, we have raiding, we have some sort of PvP, we have a story, we have diadem, we have all these things that kind of keeps everybody in there? Or do you? Well, I mean, like for some reason when I think about it, I think people come into this game and they play it. When I'm trying to think of everyone else that I know that keeps coming in and logging in and doing things, the daily basis is going through the same dungeons or going through raids and trying to progress there. I don't know, like the way that kind of sounds is like, hey, Final Fantasy XIV is kind of a world that you can go in and do whatever you want. You're like, I'm kind of bored. Let me go do something in here real quick. Oh, there's triple triad. I haven't really collected all those cards. I guess I can get invested in that for a while. Is that kind of what you guys mean, or am I insane?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that kind of hits the heart of it there. And it's also with the regular content injections. They're good at being consistent about that, which keeps the game a bit in a healthy state.
Okay. Ethys, yeah.
I just heard the triple triad and the chocobo racing in the diadem. I kind of feel like you're feeling a little bit jaded at the moment.
A little jaded, maybe. I mean, I could be. I don't know, man. Diadem, it was such a cool concept when it came in. Like everyone was excited for it. Were you guys excited for Diadem?
Oh yeah,
definitely.
I mean, we were thinking about it and we're like, man, this is like amazing. This is going to be like game changing. This is going to make it the new interest of this game. And it fell so flat because like people found ways to abuse it and abused it like we normally do, right?
Well, it happens in MMOs. Yeah. But I mean, that was one of the bullet points for Heaven's Word. It's like build an airship and explore with your free company. I'm like, oh, it sounds cool. Or fly around an airship.
Machinist and airships. I was like, I'm a fucking engineer. I'm going into this game and I'm going to be like making robots and then commanding this big airship and flying it around. And that illusion kind of fell short. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, they tried. They're learning, hopefully, from their previous forays here.
Yeah. I mean, and I guess we're getting the sub voyages now, right?
Oh yeah, submarines. There probably won't be a diadem attached to that.
It's like I don't know. it sounds awesome, but it's something you don't actually get to go in there and be awesome with, because you just send stuff on voyages, right? You don't actually be a part of those voyages.
It's essentially retainer ventures.
And it's sad because it's hyped up and with pictures and everything else, and you're like, man, that's going to be really cool, but I don't know, man. It's been disappointing me for quite a while. Triple Triad disappointed me just because I was so excited for the tournaments, and I was like, this is going to be great. Then it fell flat, and I think they kind of fixed it, but
The damage is already done.
Yeah,
It's a little
it's
too late.
I mean, when we think
People
about
move
that,
on.
does that apply to a lot of things in this game? The damage is already done. We don't really go back to it.
Verminion, Triad. I mean, you mostly just pointed the gold saucer for a lot of that, but I mean, I don't think
Yeah.
they probably put a bit more development time than they should have into a lot of those gold saucer attractions, just to say they had them, and then they haven't really gone back and revisited them just because they haven't been, a huge success with the community.
Right. I mean, it's cool that they tried it out, but it doesn't feel. I don't know, man. I don't know how to describe it.
It's a really tough thing to do with MMOs, right? Because like the whole genre is built around this idea of it's always like the next thing, and you're subscribing because the next thing is going to come. You're going to do the next thing, and people want certain things to remain relevant, right? They want aspects of the game that are always relevant and consistent, and it's a really difficult thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah. It is hard. I mean, the developers, I feel like they're spread out in so many different directions that, like, every once in a while they throw somebody a bone. And they're like, hey, look, this is going to be really cool for now. I mean, rating stays consistent, though.
Yeah,
I feel
that's
like
their core of the game is the core mechanics of leveling up and killing monsters and getting loot. And that's where the raids are kind of like central to it, and the dungeons and all that. And that's why they pump those out at such a regular frequency. And then they have these side projects that they throw in every now and then, like the gold saucer and things like that.
Right.
It seems to me, Frosty, like what you might be getting at is that in trying to appeal to a wide variety of people, they're sort of spreading themselves a little bit thin.
Yeah.
Is that what you're getting at?
I feel like they're spreading themselves thin, and it's killing a lot of interest of people. Like, for example, I'm pretty involved in the PvP community at the moment, and these guys have been spread thin for years. I mean, since PvP has come out, I mean, they want to be invested in this mode.
It's a different dev team. They've got a completely different dev team for PvP.
Do they? Did they ever say that they have a actually different dev team?
Yeah, they got a completely separate dev team that just works full time on PvP, and they've had that for quite a while now.
I've never even heard a single interview that said anything about that.
Well, at this point, PvP is like almost a completely different game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is. It's completely different. And I feel like right now it doesn't have like a representative like that's constantly saying things like, hey, this is what we're doing with PvP. We understand these are the concerns we hear. Here's our response to these concerns.
Well,
and I mean,
they've got culling time, which the community team does.
right.
But they don't really spend much time talking about PvP and where it's going and the state of it and all that. They just sort of watch and play games and commentate on it.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, and Akmorn and like Aya, they both, they do billions of things other than calling time. Like, calling time's just like a little.
It's like a little.
We do.
Yeah. It's their little pet among the millions of things that they have to do.
Like, the thing that I'm thinking about is if they want to grow PvP and, live up to kind of the stuff that they're saying, they have to have someone who's like, hey, guys, I'm your PvP representative.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you everything about it and what we're doing with it. And so the community kind of stays calm. Right now, they're like in this chaos, unrest. Oh, this sucks. I can't believe this. I hate this. 9 buttons. So stupid. That's just like the conversation 24/7. But there's no one out there battling them or supporting Square Enix and their decisions. And so it makes it kind of
I mean, the tricky thing about that, though, is it's a Japanese company and they're in 3 different regions. So if they wanted to have like a PvP representative, that would mean bringing on somebody for the Japanese side, somebody for the American side, somebody for the EU side.
All right, English speaking.
If you guys get a
Representative?
PvP representative before Australia gets a community representative,
Look, just in general, you could just say not in a PvP representative. You could just say English speaking PvP representative, even if they're based in like England or something, because that appeals both to EU and NA.
I guess that's true. But then if you're looking at just languages, this game supports 4 languages. So you're looking at 4 then instead of just 3.
Well, no, you don't have to go that far.
no,
You
you
go,
just need one genius who speaks every language.
yeah, why not?
And never sleeps.
Yeah.
Easy.
I don't know. I feel like it could just go with just 2 representatives, one Japanese, one English, because that's where the 2 biggest markets, the 2 biggest languages of the game actually exist.
That's true.
For example, they don't get people with American accents to voice act because there's no point to it, right? That you just have these English voice actors which kind of fit with the game.
It's true.
So I mean, there's no point that go in appeal multiple different people if everyone can kind of really understand it. Although, how many different languages do they do voice recording in? It's actually
4.
quite a lot. So like
4.
the cutscenes are in 4 different languages.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe.
Japanese, English, German, and French.
Okay, maybe I was wrong about that. Then that's a horrible example. Okay, if they want to save money, they only need 2. All right, all right, done. But I don't know. There's a lot of, like you guys are saying, there's a lot of different aspects of it. I feel like if we want to just kind of hit it up, let's just talk a little bit about where this game is going. People are really interested in raiding. Like, that's like when you think about Final Fantasy XIV right now, that's, again, what we said is the most consistent thing that they have is some raiding content they deliver constantly. Right now, every 3 months, they have raiding content, or it seems like it's going in that direction. Do you think they're going to keep going? Savage, Ultimate, Savage, Ultimate?
Yeah, and I think we're going to get a little bit of a dynamic shift here just from the statements that Yoshi P has put out like when he was visiting servers. It was like a month ago or so. Basically, originally, rolling back here, they had said they're intending for the Omega raids to go kind of the opposite direction that Alexander did. They're going to start easy and then get harder and harder and harder.
Right.
And I think with the success they've had with Ultimate, they're just like, well, we like the clear rate that, Deltascape got. So, and most recently, Yoshi said they're aiming for a similar difficulty for Deltascape or Sigmascape to Deltascape. So it's looking like the real world first competition is going to be for the Ultimates coming up. We'll see. We'll see if this Sigmascape gets cleared in a day or so.
Well, I mean, I don't think just because it can be cleared in a day that there's not going to be a race.
There's still a race, yeah.
Yeah. There's still going to be excitement behind it. There's still going to be lots of other things supporting a world race for that difficulty. I think... I don't know if I completely agree that we should keep it at the same difficulty. I definitely think it should be some sort of scaling. But, I mean, yeah, the clear rates are good and everything, but we're going through, people are getting more used to their jobs. It's going to seem easier for the second raid. They have to bump up a little bit more mechanics, a little bit tighter cuts, so people new to the game still might have some sort of challenge there, but like more than, I guess, the people who were here during the beginning of the expansion, but that's fine. I don't know. I don't feel like that's going to be a big deal. I mean, what do you guys think about, not keeping the scaling difficulty and just staying on the same level of difficulty?
I mean, I wish they would scale it up like they said they would.
Yeah, I wish they'd scale it at least slightly, because you think like intuitively, as you say, there's big sort of job changes and stuff at the beginning of an expansion, and having like an opening level difficulty for the first tier sort of made sense, and then scaling from there, because you want to feel like you're progressing, right?
Right.
And you want to feel like you're improving as a player, and that each new fight is a new challenge, and you're not sort of stepping backwards at any time. So it's obviously difficult that they also need to make it approachable to people, and they the idea that people are coming in with each new tier, new players are coming in, and they want to be able to get in there. But like you say, I don't think it's necessarily a problem that it's like particularly difficult for people that are coming in fresh, because it should be.
Right. I mean, there should be like, hey, I'm doing a raid, not hey, I'm just kind of AFKing through some sort of random difficulty. Like, I'm a new player, but the other 7 people I'm raiding with most likely are not new players.
Yeah.
And so they're going to get me up to level pretty quick.
Yeah, but again, the whole mantra and the whole sort of theme of Final Fantasy XIV is that it's approachable and it's accessible. So they're always gauging the success of a raid tier by clear rate.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they've decided since A Realm Reborn, that's their sort of litmus test for success. And they're not going to change that without, I don't know, some massive sort of cultural shift within the dev team.
Yeah, and I think they've got that. At least they feel like they have the super hardcore community covered with Ultimate. You know, like the top 1% of players or whatever, the people who would be doing world races and things like that.
Yeah,
I think they're using Ultimate to cater to them, and then leaving Savage, to kind of step it down a little bit, make it a little bit more accessible than say Gordius or Midas.
But then again, they get one fight every 6 months that they're actually really enjoying doing. The other ones are just like, hey, this is kind of like going through a 24-man for them. I don't
know if it's quite like that.
Love listening to Mary talk. Very nice. What's up, man?
Klaus with the troll here.
Yeah. But no, I mean, yeah, you're right. It's not really a 24-man, but the fact that you can blindly clear a fight without dying one time is kind of like a 24-man to me. I mean, 24-mans, you may die several times doing it the first time with a group of people who've never done it before. But if you could do it and not die at all with an 8-man of group, the people and everything else, I'm kind of jaded by that whole O1S experience. It feels like they were just just kind of throw it together. I almost felt like they developed the last fights and kind of went backwards a little bit. I don't know.
O1S felt like a really good sort of introduction to endgame rating, being like, oh, you've never raided before, here's how you do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, first 5 in expansion, that's good. I would like it to sort of ramp up a little bit. They did say that it would, but now they're saying that they want to keep it at about the same level. I don't know. Does that mean they want to keep each fight about the same level as O4S? Or does it mean we're going to get another O1? Because
we're probably going to get another O1. I just imagine. Or O1 and our O2, O3, and O4. If it stays the same level, I don't know, man. I feel like I don't know who's developing it. Who's developing these raid tiers? Is it the same people who did the same guy who did O1S and O2S?
Yeah. I believe so, yeah.
And
for Sigmascape?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not sure, but it's always been the first fight in every tier has been a bit of a cakewalk. It's kind of
except for I feel like the perfect beginning fight was A5S.
That was a pretty good one.
That was perfect. That's the level we needed. There's lots of little cool things that I don't have to play my job perfectly. I just have to look for mechanics and understand how this fight works, and that's a good introductory raid tier, because you have to actually pay attention to what's happening in a fight, learn things about the fight, and actually kind of, I don't know, not just sit there and AFK and hit a target dummy.
Yeah, Midas is probably my favorite tier just because how mechanically focused everything was. Even the first fight had a whole bunch of crazy little gimmicks going on, and it was less of a DPS race like the previous tier.
And if you were really good at raiding, you cleared it before you saw all the mechanics. And that's fine. That's okay, because then you have the people who are not very good, and they have, again, my raid team, previous raid team, sorry, I'm not part of that static, or I'm not part of a static anymore, but when we were doing it, we would always do every single mechanic of every single fight until we hit Enrage. I don't think we've cleared a single fight without hitting Enrage at least once on that fight. And I didn't mind it because I enjoy doing these extra mechanics, and I felt like it taught me something every single time I did that fight and how to be a better player in raiding, because I don't want raiding to be target dummy 101. But then we get it. Then again, I will say also A1S, I kind of liked that. A lot of people didn't like that, but I felt like that was easy enough as a first fight to kind of get people into raiding, plus not being a complete walkover.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So
2 was a joke though, but
two's their experimental fight, man.
Two. Two as a melee DPS. Fuck two.
They always
As a
want to do
summoner,
something experimental.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Our black mage hated. You know, it's like, I don't want to play summoner until he actually did it once. He's like, holy shit, my numbers, and he was like, all right, I'm okay playing summoner now.
That's how to make a black mage happy. Your numbers will be even bigger.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Okay, so in general, I mean, I guess we'll just see what happens with 4.2. But do you guys care if it's the same difficulty? Will you be like, it's not really gonna break my heart if it's the same difficulty as the last raid, Balana?
I mean, a lot of high-end teams have been saying that if, you know, Savage becomes a kind of 1 to 2 day affair, that they're going to start focusing more on Ultimate, like, because there's a limited amount of time you can take off of work to dedicate to, you know, world progging, going as hard as you can, 16 hours a day on things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be, it kind of comes down to a choice, like, oh, do I want to do this Savage, which is over really quick and not really all that great, or do I want to do it for the incredibly challenging content that might take a week or 2 or 3 to, you know, clear?
Right. Well, who's going to take off 3 weeks of work? I mean,
that's the part though. Yeah, is that you probably want to get very many people going over 1 or 2 weeks possibly.
Because of that, I feel like Savage may be the more popular race in maybe just people participating in it.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have a lot of more people going for the Savage titles just because of how quick it is. It's possible that you have a situation where even if you're some new upstart, you can outpace all the veteran names. It's a lot more, because it's easier. It's a lot more approachable. More people can enter it. Whereas Ultimate, I think you're going to see like the hot top performers from the previous tiers kind of place a little bit differently than before.
Well, I mean, yeah, because like I think the first person to clear O1S was someone who hasn't really ranked up. I mean, they've been kind of up there, but it wasn't someone who was like, hey, we're going to get world first. It was someone like, hey, first day we log in, we just go in and kill as fast as we can, and they did it because they didn't get a wipe.
Yeah.
And that was it. I don't know. I feel it's going to be kind of interesting. I don't know if it's going to be as much of a spectator sport. It's going to be a little bit of a spectator sport, but, you know, Ultimate carried for weeks as people watching it on stream and everything else. This will probably carry for a good week or 2, and then it will kind of fall short and everything else. It's kind of sad because those Ultimate streams, you remember when the entire page was dedicated to Ultimate for the Final Fantasy XIV Twitch speak?
Crazy. Yeah.
How many Ultimate streams do you guys see right now?
You'll see a couple every night. There'll be a few people. Yeah.
It was so
But
sad.
the number. I mean, okay, when Ultimate came out, the numbers on Twitch were like as big as they were at the start of Stormblood. Like, it was crazy. So it was very, very healthy for the community. And like you say, it was absolutely a spectator sport there for a good couple of weeks. And Savage is going to deliver that. But again, that's an alarm.
Wake up, Ethys.
But for you know, your average like mid-core static, it's a good 6 to 8 weeks progression where you've got content.
I mean, have a lot of mid-core players actually cleared Ultimate? I mean, what are you guys seeing as clear rates for these fights?
No, I'm not talking about Ultimate. I mean Savage.
Savage.
On the other hand, like is a good sort of 6 to 8 weeks of content for you know, an organized like mid-core static. I mean, there's mid-core groups that are clearing Ultimate. Not a whole bunch of them, but there's new people clearing every week.
Yeah. There's a lot of blood getting churned through there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I felt like it hit a wall and then people just stopped trying. A lot of groups just like said, all right, we give up. No, you guys didn't see a lot of groups just give up and just stop?
Sly's still trying to get his clear, and if Sly's still trying, then you know that it can't be that bad.
I guess so. Like when my group did it, we just did it. We're like, hey, we'll just do it for a couple attempts here. We got to the end of Twintania, and then we're like, okay, well, we're disbanding the static anyways. Let's just kind of calm down and relax and everything. Yeah. Now our static plays Tabletop Simulator on Fridays or something. So, I mean, we don't really do much in, I guess, those terms. Are you going to have a static Ethys going into 4.2?
Yeah, I've got a static going into 4.2. So with 4.0, I decided to do things a little bit differently. And raided with my community, with basically a bunch of people that had never raided before, because I thought that would be fun. And I mean, it was to a point.
You didn't like the 2 paladins, 2 red mage, the 2.
No, I mean, it was fun. Like it was cool. It was fun. Like it was community building. But I do miss Prague. So I'm going in with a bit more of a mid-core this tier. And it's not like, we're not going to be pushing for the race or, anything insane, but we're going to be doing a good sort of 3 or 4 nights a week for how long it takes.
Okay.
And I'm excited for it. Yeah.
This is the first tier I'm not going in with a group since I started playing this game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so it's going to be interesting. I'm going to be part of the Tuesday Pug groups and see how that works out.
Yeah,
the Pug Life.
Say, you should definitely see how the Pug Life treats you, because the Pug Life is like a really interesting learning experience as well.
Well, the thing is, like, I haven't really pugged too much in the last couple of years when it comes to in-game rating, because there wasn't really a need to, and I felt like if I cleared it without my group, I'd be kind of like, maybe I'm leading this group, but I go out and raid with other people to clear it. It didn't feel right. I felt like I had to go down with the ship, right? If the ship couldn't like clear the finish line, then I might as well not finish the race, or I guess the journey. There we go, the journey.
Yeah.
And so now I feel like I can do that, but because my life, and this is why we haven't had a MogTalk in like a month, can be kind of hectic sometimes. I have to work over the weekends. I have to go visit family. I have to do other things. And so I don't expect to do that as much going forward, but in some raid nights, I just had to say, hey, I'm the raid leader and I can't make it tonight. And that sucks a lot. And so I felt like it kind of held everyone back, and I didn't want to do that anymore. Balana, you have a pretty, like, how much are you guys going to raid when you go in with your group?
I'm still kind of floating between a few different groups. I haven't quite settled down yet. But it's looking to be like we're blocking out 3 to 4 days of 16 hours just to make sure we kill it first week.
Okay. So this is definitely going to be cleared in the first week. No doubt about it.
Probably before the second day, I want to say. Maybe during the second day, yeah. I'd be surprised if the world first went to day 3.
Ethys, are you on that same page?
Yeah, I think so. It sounds about right.
Okay. Because it's such a different race when people have to go to sleep. So, like, you have to say, when do we hit that point where we're not going to make any more progress and we have to sleep for 8 hours? Will we lose the race just because we went to sleep?
Yes.
Yeah. And it feels like this is going to be like that. So
if it comes to that, the people who win are the people that are going to be taking a bunch of Ritalin and staying up for another 6 hours.
That's all competitive gaming is, Ritalin, right?
Apparently.
Yeah. So we'll see. And we haven't really been given any hints to what that raid's going to look like either, do we? Like what kind of bosses we have.
No, we haven't seen anything until we're going to see probably the trailer on Friday or Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's Friday my time. It's Saturday morning for you guys, I think.
It's
the next live letter.
It's Friday morning for us, I think.
Oh, okay. It's Friday night for me. Yeah, so it'd be Friday morning for you guys. Yeah.
But they have released trailers outside of live letters before, I want to say.
They have.
And I think they might put it out on Tuesday just because of how close to the probable release. Because they usually put the trailer out, 2 weeks before it comes out?
Well, sometimes they don't at all. Like, not every patch has had a trailer.
True. Yeah, they've been a little inconsistent on it.
It's going to have a trailer. 100%.
Yeah.
On their preview site, there is a box that says trailer coming soon. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
we'll see it on the 19th at the latest.
Yeah. You guys don't think they're going to do the patch right after the live letter? You think it's going to be a week or so afterwards?
I think it might be coming on that next Tuesday, honestly. I think it might come on the 23rd.
Balana's completely disagreeing with you.
No,
it's the 30th. If they did it, if they announced the date of the patch 4 days before the patch, that would mess up a lot of people's like scheduling. So
yeah, I'm going with the 30th too because they want to keep hype up at least a week. I mean, why make a trailer video if it's going to hype people for 4 days?
Mm-hmm.
So I think Yeah, I would agree. It'd probably be the 30th, maybe even a week after that.
Oh, okay. So apparently Yoshida's having a 4.2 interview with Famitsu on the 26th. So it's got to be the 30th then.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. So it's got to be the 30th.
All right. Well, then there you go. I was also going to plan an interview, a couple questions to go out to Yoshida sometime here, and I was thinking about doing it right after 4.2, after everybody has all the moans and groans of everything that might have happened from that patch. I feel like doing it beforehand. Everyone else already got their interviews in, so fuck them. We'll just do one afterwards, and we'll see how that works out. But rating in general, you guys think it's actually going in a much healthier direction than it has been in the past, just because we have Ultimate in there? Just out of curiosity, kind of end the topic of rating.
I mean,
We're still going backwards.
That's for sure.
You think we're going backwards?
No, I said it's not going backwards.
Oh, it's not. Okay.
No.
I don't know. It's this subdivision of raid difficulty that kind of turned me off from WoW. It's like when there was like 4 different difficulties of a raid, you're doing the same thing 4 different times. I think having Ultimate being like a completely separate raid is really good, or completely separate fight at least. But it'll be interesting. Only time will tell how this really kind of shapes out.
2018, a good year for rating. We were just going with time will tell. Come on,
Time will
Balana.
tell.
Come on, Balana. Come on, give me some sort of rating's going to be fantastic in 2018, or rating looks very disappointing and the state of the game is going to be a failure in its main aspect.
Rating is grating.
I mean, we're leading up to FanFest, right? And so
Yeah, dude.
we'll talk about FanFest a little bit, I think, towards the end here, but like FanFest has a lot of things that have to lead up to it because we have to all be excited when going into FanFest. So
It's true.
okay, I guess we'll see. We'll see. For me, it looks like it's going to be pretty good. I'm kind of disappointed that it does the outlook of regular Savage. Like I say regular Savage now, right? The outlook of Savage doesn't look as promising difficulty-wise as I thought it was going to be. But we'll see. So kind of the other aspect, what would you say the second aspect? Story, right? People care about story with this game. After rating, I guess the average player might care about story, right?
The average player doesn't give a shit about the story.
No, they do. They have to, man. They care about their atmosphere. They care about the lore. They care about like what's happening
they care about
in the game.
Atmosphere. They care about the fan service.
Yeah.
The average player skips cutscenes.
Yeah, that's true. But they like having a general idea of what's happening. Like, oh, this character, she steps on people. I'm gonna sit here and watch this cutscene. Maybe? No?
You think you might be putting a little bit too trust in there. I'd say probably half or less of people actually follow the MSQ story. And don't just like escape their way through all the cutscenes.
So you say half of the people pay attention to the main story quest?
Half or less.
If that.
So what other aspect of this game that half the people are actually invested in?
Glamour.
Glamour.
And the Glamour in 4.2 is like...
You think Glamour is going to be like the main attraction going forward in 2018?
It's a pretty huge thing. I've heard people describe this as a dress up game you play with your friends, and every now and then a hard boss shows up.
I don't know about that, man. Like I guess I'm the only person who doesn't care about Glamour, except for like mildly. I'm like I kind of like looking not like shit, but it doesn't matter that much. But then again, you know, I grew up looking like a clown in WoW, so it's like whatever. Just this is a powerful piece. I don't care. Here we go. Done.
You go on the subreddit any day of the week, and you'll be under no delusions that Glamour is like 90% of what people care about.
Glamour matters on subreddit because that's what subreddit caters to, is instant satisfaction. Oh, a picture is instant satisfaction, right?
Yeah.
But if you did like a clear on, you know, hey, this is me clearing this content, this funny thing happened in this raid, it's still going to have less upvotes than like a picture of a cat girl in a bikini, because
exactly.
That's instant gratification. They don't have to watch a video for it. So it's kind of, I feel like that's just how the Reddit functions. I don't know. With Glamour, I'm not going to fucking talk about Glamour in 2018.
No, we can talk about it. Like, I'm excited. for the story. I'm really excited for the story. I know other people are excited for the story, and I'm excited to share that with them. But I'm under no delusions that like it's like the main attraction of the game to the majority of people.
I would say rating, then glamour bullshit, then maybe story. Okay, I don't think there's anything else in that range. People care about what's happening with whoever the main characters of the story.
Whoever the main character.
Frosty, people must love the story. Frosty here. We know those people doing the things.
You know, what's the name and the other guy.
Yeah, Raban. He lost an arm.
He did, yeah.
Years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, people do. I mean, honestly, you have a person who's dedicated to the story. They have a person that everyone loves that works on the story all the time. So, of course, people care about this. I feel like there's no way that people don't care about the story in this game. Like, you watch it, you're like, this is kind of nice this is happening. Now I get into this whole new atmosphere because of these story aspects. I have to go to Weeptown because we're... Well, why am I sounding so condescending? But I'm not really trying to.
No, it's really convincing when you're talking about how much people care about the story and the fact that the Ponyo show represents, what the average person thinks of the film. And you have, this is and then we go to Weeptown and we made some fucking waves and someone steps on someone.
Okay, so let me say this right now. I will say the 4.1 story, main story quest, I did not care for.
Okay.
I thought it was just trying to build up to a point, like, oh, well, there's this main thing, and then, all right, spoilers. If you guys haven't seen it, if you care about the story and you haven't seen it, it's on you right now, to be honest with you. But there's spoilers out there about this, to give you a heads up. But, I mean, Raban, like, separating himself from Ulda. Okay, that's heartwarming. Okay, there's this sense of, like, loss between him. God, what's her name? Why can't I remember her name? Have I really? Huh?
Lakshmi?
Nanamo.
Nanamo. All right, so Lakshmi.
She shows up in 4.1.
It's true. But him separating himself from her, okay, that's huge because you always have all the pictures and posters of them together and everything else. You probably have it in your house. But it's weird, right? I just didn't care for it. I was like, when I watch maybe this is just my personal interest. Like when I watch a story and like half of the story is just like fan service and just like talking about like simple emotions between two characters, it doesn't feel great to me. Maybe I'm a Mad Max kind of guy, I guess.
Maybe you're just a heartless monster, Frosty.
Maybe I am.
And I thought the 4.1 story was really good.
Really?
Yeah, I agree. It was great.
Yeah.
Walking around with Domino and trying to become a leader for like 30-40 minutes.
This amazing
independent
arc for Fordola.
Okay.
We got the whole thing going on for Fordola. We get to go on a little adventure all of a sudden. We haven't gone on an adventure in forever. We've been dealing with, saving
we
the
get
world.
to go like treasure hunting.
Yeah.
It was sweet. It was great.
You fight a primal.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, like, some of that was kind of interesting, but I felt like there's too much filler with Nomino. I felt like I spent too much time with Nomino.
So little filler. You spent like 5 minutes with Nomino. It's just because it was like a bit that you couldn't skip. You could skip all the other cutscenes. This wasn't cutscene. This was like...
I physically had to go out there and do boring stuff for half an hour.
I know. And if it was a cutscene, you would have just skipped it. But you couldn't, so it felt longer than the other stuff that was actually the focus of the patch.
Okay, maybe so. I mean, I did like the stuff it was Fordola. I'm saying the name right? Where she was in prison and she came out. She was like, all right, I'm your friend now. Did I represent that properly?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like such an asshole, and people watching this that care about the story are going to shit all over me and tell me how horrible I am. And I understand this, and I apologize for it, guys. I just haven't been involved with the story in 3 months. I literally did it, and then I was done.
Here's the capacity to which people are going to care about the story during 2018. They're going to care about the story insofar as it leads into the next expansion and what the next expansion is going to feature, where the next expansion is going to be.
You're right. Absolutely. That's what I care about. I
Yeah.
do care about the characters to some extent, right? If I see something that happens and I get more attached to the character because it's something I didn't expect and it wasn't just something that was being dragged out for 30 minutes, then I'd be okay with it, right? I'd feel like this would be something I wanted to watch and be a part of.
The average player is going to start really caring about where the story is leading as we get close to FanFest. I know an expansion announcement is coming out and they're going to want to know where it is and what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, we're probably gonna get, like, if they follow the formula from before, 4.2 and 4.3 are gonna be wrapping up the 4.0 story.
Yeah.
And then 4.4 and
We're gonna
4.5 will be
planting
the
seeds. Yeah.
leading
Okay.
into the expansion.
So right now, when we're going into 4.2, what for the people who haven't been paying attention enough to the story, what are we expecting out of 4.2 as main points of the storyline?
Well, we're going east again. We spent 4.1 sort of consolidating things in Alamego. Now we've got to do the same thing in Doma. Heian has got to, set up some kind of government. We're expecting some sort of, backlash from the Imperials or whatever. Yeah, that's basically it. Like it's a sort of consolidation patch. I'm expecting them to start planting the seeds for the next expansion though, 4.2.
I mean, we're probably gonna get Yatsuo and
Yatsu, yeah.
Big G back.
Big G.
I can't remember his name right now, so
Go Zetsu?
Yeah,
it's-
that's
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know why I said that. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so why is it taking so long for us to get back in touch with them? Like, is it really taking them?
because we did 4.1 in Alamego.
What's the timeline right now? Like, seriously, what's the timeline? Is it actual? Are we speaking like this been 6 months?
No. So the timeline's interesting at the moment. Patch 4.0, so just like the main scenario quest of patch 4.0 took place over several months. And most of us got through that within like a week, right? Whereas there's very little time that's passed. There's maybe a week that's passed canonically between 4.0 and 4.1. And not sure what the time is going to be between 4.1 and 4.2, but I expect it's going to be something similar. It's going to be like a week or two.
Yeah,
Okay.
probably just a short jump.
Yeah.
Because all the developments are going to be happening out in Authored instead of in Alamego. So
Okay. Well, I mean, when we were looking, you said for people being interested in the story too, to kind of get on that subject again for 2018, we're leading into FanFest and releasing the expansion. What hints we can get at that when they're going to start hinting towards Blue Mage, when they're going to start hinting towards, Dancer, things like that. People are going to be outright just saying, hey, where are these little bits and pieces I can pick up on?
Yes.
But when we're talking about, God, I had my point and I just lost it. What was it? Okay. When we're building up things in the story, things that I've forgotten about, I feel like need to start coming to fruition or whatever it is. Like why the moon? Okay, so we know the moon means nothing right now, right? At this, that was just like a atmosphere thing. Yeah. But why don't we see? God damn it! But what are their names again? And the black coats and the white coats.
Well,
Yeah.
we saw Elidibus at the end, patch 4.1.
But
We
we're
saw
given
him.
so little. Like it's always just like a little touch.
Oh, it's
barely
okay. So he's there with the Emperor. They're talking about the death of Xenos and what that means and whatever. And then he shows his face. The Emperor takes his mask off and he shows his face. And there's this shot of the Emperor just in shock, going, "How dare you?" And people are like, "Oh shit, who is Elidibus? Elidibus has taken someone's body. Whose body is he taking? Is he taking Xenos' body? Is he using Gaius's body? Like, what the fuck's going on?" So that is leading somewhere. And that is going to start to pay off in this.
I didn't even know that. So he's taking people's bodies right now.
Well, the Ascians do that. The
they've
Ascians
always done that.
Yeah, the
Oh,
Ascians,
right.
in order for the Ascians to exist in our world, they need to possess a host body.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just floating purplish mist most of the time.
And they took our buddy.
Thancred. They
Tancred,
took Thancred.
yeah,
The
they
Realm
just-
Reborn.
Tancred, that's
They
right.
took Thancred, yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense. Now I'm kind of realizing that. I always thought they were just kind of little ghost characters in the background, just talking. They weren't like I don't know. I forgot about that. It's been so long. How long has that been? 4 years?
Well, no, they were at the end of Heaven's Word.
They're literally in every patch.
Yeah.
No. I mean, like, how long since the Thancrit?
Oh,
incident?
yeah, it's 4 years.
Yeah, end of 2013. Yeah.
Yeah.
So over 4 years.
4 to 5 years. Okay. All right. Well, I guess I want to see more of that. I want to see more of these main aspects. I don't want to see side quests. Like, seriously, that seems interesting. Talking about the Ascians and all the big crazy things they're doing outside of walking Nomino around for 30 minutes.
The Ascians are the big meta plot. Like, almost all the conflicts that are rising up are either because the Garleans or because the Ascians or both. So like every single thing that the Warrior Light's going around attending to is because of them. So we can't really, put all the Ascian cards out there all at once, or else we're going to lose one of our major antagonists. So I don't think we'll get a complete resolution of them until...
I don't need a resolution. I just need more involvement.
But they show up like every patch.
But
they literally pulling the strings on everything. And they always have been.
I don't know. Maybe...
You can't say that's because you've been skipping cutscenes.
Probably because I'm skipping cutscenes.
Like,
I'm going to be honest.
every patch, there's a cutscene at the end of pretty much every patch where Little Biz is like, "No, it was me all along."
But that's it. That's it, though. I mean, that's literally all they are to me right now. I don't see any more depth. I don't see anything else. I can't read much into that. I start reading more into these other characters and learning about other characters and how they feel towards other characters. And, that's interesting, everything. But I want to see more big master plots and diabolical plans.
Well,
okay, you want to know where I think the story might be leading, like, quite literally towards the end of 2018, moving into the next expansion.
Yeah. That'd be great.
If you do the samurai quest lines, if you do the ninja quest lines, you get this idea.
I never read those. I've never. I can't do it. The only one I kept up with was Wolf Warrior. But go ahead.
So Kugane, it's this little port town of this nation called Hingashi, which is closed off to all outsiders. The Garlands can't get in. The Sharlands can't get in. We can't get in. No one can get in. The Garlands want to get in. There are some tremors of like a civil war in Hingashi, which I have no doubt that we're going to find out the Ascians are behind and the Garlands are behind, because that's exactly what they did to Alamigo in order to get into Alamigo. And basically this conflict is going to create like a gateway for us in the same way that it created in Ishgard, where the Hingashans, that they're going to basically discover that the Garlands are behind this conspiracy to sort of create this civil conflict, and that we're going to be sort of brought in to help them clean it up.
So are we going to...
There, I think it's going to happen there. I think it's going to happen in Thavner as well, and I think we're slowly going to start moving into the rest of Othard and parts of Ilsbad as well. That's going to be like the next big point.
Dealing with civil war, civil conflict, civil things that are happening in towns. I don't know, man. I literally want like the world's going to end if we're not involved kind of stuff. I don't know if I...
But that's all that stake's always there.
Yeah, is it really?
Every time we fire Primal, if we fuck up, the world's done. It's another calamity. Like literally every time at the moment we fight a Primal, that's what's at stake.
I don't know, man. I feel like the Garleans could step in and, take over things and kill the Primal eventually, right?
Then the Garleans take over the world, and the world is kind of screwed.
I mean, is it really that bad if the Garleans take over?
From an Eorzine perspective, yes, it's bad, but...
I mean, they're not really that bad people. There's some like Donald Trumps in their leadership
or
something.
So what
but
happens,
I mean, like
the Garlands take over is that they start doing the things that the Allagans did, where they're like weaponizing primals, and then one of them breaks out and destroys the world.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe the stakes.
I don't feel that though. Why don't I feel that? I never feel that.
You're not paying attention.
Like. I don't know. Maybe there's not enough visual cues there of me having to worry about the world ending.
You're skipping the visual cues.
I'm not the main story quest. I watch all of it. I do.
Right,
I watch all of the main story quests. So I have.
Right,
but I mean, it's been 3 months, and like I don't think about it afterwards. I'm like, okay, I've watched the main story quest. and I'm done it, and now I've kind of forgotten about it because it was kind of forgettable.
And I've got a friend who does journaling as he goes through the main story, like writes down like the events that have been happening, so he can refer back to it. And
Really?
Yeah,
Ethys does that. I mean, for sure, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, yes.
Yes. Okay, maybe I'm not paying enough attention. Penguin's right. Maybe I'm not paying enough attention to what's actually happening. And I don't see a lot of stuff. That's why I have you at this, man, to be honest with you. Because I know I can talk to you about it, and you can kind of put me in my place when I talk about story stuff. Because I need to be put in my place sometimes. I do care. I am interested in what's happening in the world. But I don't. For some reason, it just doesn't hit me when I'm playing the game. Maybe I'm just like, "Where's my fucking raid?" And I'm just like pushing through stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're just like you're looking to the next thing.
yeah, and it's also the majority of your time with the game isn't even with the story itself. Like you said yourself, you spent maybe an hour to 30 minutes on the newest one, and then that's
Every couple of months. Yeah.
every few months. Yeah. So you spend a few hours outside of that. It becomes, less and less important in the back of your mind.
And that's the experience of most people. And obviously the way to solve that would be to make the patches more often. But
Well, I mean, not the patches in general,
unrealistic.
like just like story, just like put a little bit of story, like every like month have a little bit of story that comes out and like a little side patch or something.
So you see, that's what they did with like 2.5 and 2.55, and people kind of hated that because it was so little. It was like so like tantalizing, and they're like, no, that's not enough. Give me more.
Well, that's good. Making us hungry for more is good. That's healthy, right?
See, I kind of think so as well. So okay, what I would like ideally was if there was like more filler. There was more story content, there was more dialogue, and that it was coming more often, like you say. People don't want that because the majority of players are not interested in the story. If there's a bunch of story stuff that they have to go through, like it's like a barrier to them. They're like, no, give me the dungeon, give me the raids. I don't want to have to do this story. If I don't want to do it, don't make me do it. And again, that's why like they put in this thing with Nanamo, who's been a key character since 1.0, who's a favorite character for a lot of people, and most of the people that are invested in the story and are interested in the story was like, wow, we get to spend some time with Nanamo, and this is awesome. We get to like have this like exposition with her for a whole half an hour, and then there's Frosty the average player being like, this is fucking boring. I don't care about this little potato.
I mean, like it kind of. I didn't say potato bitch. All right, come on. But when she didn't actually die, it kind of like it killed a lot. To be honest with you, it made things feel less valuable. It's like or less like, oh, he's dead. Well,
it's like they'll introduce new characters and then kill them the next patch after. Rest in peace, Moonbrita. But they'll pull their punches on the long time series characters. It seems.
I think people need to die if they're serious characters. We need Game of Thrones maybe in some sort of fashion or way.
Nanamo's character growth in 4.1 was exceptional. She's gone from, again, with that attempted assassination, she's gone from being this compliant little sort of puppet to actually having her own agency and sort of expressing herself and exercising power. And again, people that are invested in the story and invested in her character really enjoyed seeing that in 4.1.
I'd be more invested if she like just suddenly broke out and started casting magic and blowing people up or something.
Right. Well, okay. Fair enough. And be that as it may, if we have like you say, every couple of weeks we get a little bit of story, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be stuff like that.
Where she's just blowing people up, or just
no.
diplomacy?
It's gonna be filler. It's gonna be exposition. It's gonna be building on characters which most people frankly don't care about.
I mean, if it was in, I don't know how to make MMO storyline more engaging to the point to where you're like really invested in it.
Well, you can't make it all fucking Michael Bay, because then people that care about story are gonna be like, this is asinine.
Okay, maybe so. Are you so studying the story since you started playing this game basically at this? Do you feel like the story and everything else is going to go in this healthy direction where it's going to be really interesting, or is it all just going to be fan service?
I think the story is becoming more engaging with every patch. I think the writers that are on board are all maturing. They're coming into their own. I think that they're leaning less on fan service because particularly in like a Realm Reborn, like I guess they didn't have a whole lot of confidence in the ability for, I guess, 14 and its concepts and its stories to carry itself. Whereas now they are, and it's becoming, like I say, less reliant on fan service and less reliant on that kind of stuff, and more I feel like the storytelling is like improving with every expansion.
Okay.
Yeah, with Realm Reborn, they had to play it safe, and they were probably doing it on a shoestring budget too. So,
oh yeah, I mean, their budget between Heavensward and Stormblood, and I can't give you an official source on this, but let's just say I know.
Okay.
But it basically tripled.
Mhm.
Okay. So triple so everything we see should be triple what it was.
Oh, here we go. All right.
Okay.
yes, there's an exact correlation
Yeah.
between dollary dues and content. So three
Yeah,
times more,
that's
and three
true.
times more
Yeah.
gooder.
Okay.
Yeah.
3 times more gritter.
Mhm.
Good. I can do with that.
It's the same size dev team plus a couple of people and a couple of these guest developers with triple
That is interesting. For some reason I want to hit a side
It's-
tangent
it's
on
not-
this.
it's not
Guest
more people.
developers. Like just bringing people in there like
well, they're on contract.
right. So, I mean, these people, they come in and I guess they just project lead. Because I'm assuming they're not going in there and actually like coding or adding in these.
No, it's mostly like you say, it seems like it's mostly project lead. It's like writing. It's like
Design
art.
and concept art. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's kind of interesting because that's a draw. You're
Yeah.
saying, hey, I'm bringing in this guy you guys are all familiar with that was, lead guy from Final Fantasy Tactics to make tactics content in this game. And so people get really invested in that and they want to play. But that kind of works a lot with how anime in Japan works with voice actors, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't care about like the story or whatever's going on in the actual anime. They're like, oh, I love this voice actor. He's my favorite. I'm gonna watch this anime, or at least that's what I've heard. I'm saying
There are
that.
some people that are like that.
Yeah.
Again, different people are drawn in by different things.
Okay, so it's almost like they're spending money on gaining interest by notoriety. Does that sound right?
Well, with the guest developers, I think they're kind of trying to appeal to that same kind of Final Fantasy theme park feel, where you can go on this 24-man raid of Ivalice that's made by the guy who made Ivalice. Come on, guys, let's everybody hop in there.
Right.
Well, it's also a really fresh perspective because you've got to imagine that a lot of the things that the developers have sort of wanted to do, they've done. And when you've got the same group of people working on one project for 5 years now, and I guess like they've sort of, I don't want to say they're played out, but like they've sort of spent a lot of the concepts that they wanted to like get into the game. You bring in someone new, someone again with a great deal of notoriety, with a great deal of success, coming in with a fresh perspective and just injecting some sort of new ideas and some new passion. The Ivalice raid, like, it looks amazing. It's bringing in a lot of new like mechanical concepts. It's bringing in a lot of new like visual elements. And I'm gonna mute it for a second and turn that phone off.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Go ahead, Balana.
I mean, I almost wish that the amount of kind of design and budget that they put in these 24-mans, like you finish that third boss or going into the third boss of the Ivalice raid, and you're seeing that huge underground mesa, and then there's the whole like underwater area, and like it seems they seem to dump a lot more of their budget into stuff like that because it's a lot more accessible.
Yeah.
Hopefully that'll be one of the upsides to having Savage content be more accessible, is they feel better about throwing more money at it.
Yeah, I think so. I think so for sure.
All right, well that's cool. As long as it's not wasted money, right? We want to make sure these resources are going towards things like not triple triad and. But
I think you severely overestimate the budget of Triple Triad. I'm just saying.
Most people do. Most people.
They probably have one guy in the corner, one developer just churning out like Triple Triad, and
It's not a guy dedicated to it. It's like somebody's.
They probably had one guy in the corner for like 2 weeks coding it, and now they just occasionally contract.
They need some artwork, yeah.
A couple of cards for them.
yeah.
They don't think about the balance of it.
Triple Triad at the moment, and in like any recent patches since it basically it's not taking up dev hours.
It's like you get a bonus for working on this. Hey, go work on this. You'll get a bonus this year or something. I don't know. Okay, so I do want to hit one more point with the story before we wrap it up a little bit, but with at least the story portion. Ivalice, that being someone kind of outside of the Final Fantasy XIV development team that they kind of contracted in there. And I'll ask this towards Balana, I guess, first. How'd you feel about like that whole story? Did you watch the story? Did you pay attention to it at all?
I did it like really early in the morning though, so my memory's a little fuzzy. It's an incredible amount of exposition before you actually go in there.
Yes,
I was surprised. It was like 20 to 30 minutes of dialogue setting it up. So he's really trying to squish his Ivalice into this world. I mean, they're using kind of like fill in the blanks a little bit. Like, oh, we need an antagonist. So Evil Empire right here. There we go. Okay, Garleans, got it. Cool. Okay, so you're able to adapt a story like that using kind of the general motifs of 14.
It was kind of weird to me because in the end, it just turns out you have these famous characters from Final Fantasy Tactics, and they're like, oh, I just named my kids after them because it was a good story, and now we're trying to venture into this story and that it's actually real, like a kind of almost Indiana Jonesville sort of thing, but not really. I don't know.
I mean, we still got 2 more raids, so we'll see how it shapes out, man.
Yeah. Ethys, what were your thoughts on it, man?
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I was worried that it was going to feel shoehorned in. But they've done a really, really good job of, again, like the general story of the War of the Lions, how it would fit into the history of Heidelin. I thought they did a really, really exceptional job of it. And I'm really, really excited to see the rest of it.
I mean, it looks like it's exciting. I mean, when I followed the raid story from Heavensward, I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was a billion times better than Savage. I mean, I'm talking about the 24-man. The 24-man versus the Savage content. 24-man outwon it billion times over. Because I guess it was the kind of content I liked. I liked that kind of dark, like, void, like, demon stuff that they were doing. I don't know. It was interesting. But then going with goblins and robots, there's, like, almost no comparison, right?
Well, they went kind of the complete opposite end this time with straight fan service for the Savage raid.
True. I'm really interested to see what kind of fan service we're getting with this raid. They could put literally anything in there. And it's insane. I'm still thinking, are we going to see like Final Fantasy VII characters in there at some point?
Probably.
It's quite possible.
I'm thinking they'll throw Kefka in at the end of this one, would be my guess.
That would be a pretty amazing ending.
You think we're going to get a Final Fantasy VI tier? Like the whole tier is going to be Final Fantasy VI?
I mean, it's there's not a whole lot of other options for them.
Final Fantasy X? I'd really like a Final Fantasy X tier.
That'd be something. I don't know if they do that. Though.
Maybe they'll implement it when they do Blitzball.
Hey, there we go. There you go. They'll put Blitzball in, and we'll have the 10 raid, and the world will end.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because Savage, you don't really have to have a strong story behind the bosses that are going in there. You're just like, we're kind of dealing with Omega, and they're just kind of throwing stuff in there. The Omega story overall, it's kind of engaging in a way, I guess, but we know why it's there. We know why it exists. It's not really...
It's a setup for fan service.
Yeah. And are you guys okay with that?
Yeah.
Well, okay. So again, it is a setup for fan service. In terms of the bosses can be like literally whatever fan service is fine. The thing about Omega though is that he's tied into the origins of Alag.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the Allegan Empire, that has been like, you know, the big sort of historical mystery since 1.0. And it's also tied into the origins of Midgard Zorma. So again, it's these threads, it's these mysteries that go all the way back to 1.0 that we're exploring. So somehow they've found a way to both do this sort of mindless fan service that requires no context within the bosses themselves, but within the story that surrounds it, they're doing this really interesting world building and lore building.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they fucking nailed it.
Okay.
Yeah, they did a lot. They learned from their mistake, I think, with Alexander, and they did a lot of build up to this raid of giving it context on the outside, because that's what really made Binding Coil Bahamut so special. Was that it was basically all of 1.0 and the
Was leading into it. Yeah,
was leading into this raid, and they didn't even like try with Alexander. It's like, oh, this thing showed up in the lake.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's here now.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a good story, but it didn't have anywhere near like that sort of sense of urgency, that sense of like greater stakes outside of this sort of self-contained story.
Mm-hmm.
Right. All right. I messed up my highlighted comments. Give me a second. I gotta fix this. There we go. I think I got it. Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, yeah, I looking at that perspective, you're right. I kind of agree with that. Although I think the first boss or part of the story where, you know, the dragon alt-right flies out of that hole and then it becomes the first boss and it was kind of disappointing was the only thing that I was like, I don't know if I'm happy with that. I was hoping yeah, it didn't lead up to much. You're like, oh, that looks crazy, and it's okay.
You weren't instantly like, I'm gonna ride that danger noodle, because that's what I was thinking.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't think I have that mount still. I think I still don't have it.
Do I?
Sorry. All right. So I think 2014 2018 kind of leads in a good direction for Final Fantasy 14 because it has a lot of stuff that they can build with, and it feels. I agree, at least to the point that I feel like they're starting to understand how they can interact with fan service and bringing everything together to make everyone happy, even if they don't care about the story, because they get their bosses, right? They get all the stuff that they really want to see. Plus, the people who are paying attention to the story are like, hey, this is actually kind of engaging. We're going back to what we were dealing with since the beginning, 1.0. I
think for the most part, everyone's happy.
Yeah?
Is that crazy? Is that outrageous?
Have you had anyone complain about the story recently?
Yeah,
really? Besides me?
Seen some people.
About the content?
Besides you.
Yeah.
Some
About
people
the
just didn't like the
content of the
Stormblood story. They just didn't like it. They preferred Heavensward. They feel like it's a step back. I know.
Okay, I've heard a couple people saying that they preferred the Heavensward story.
I did.
And they feel like it was higher impact or whatever.
Well,
But I haven't had
Heavensward was
anyone,
also a bit more.
had anyone saying to me that the Stormblood story isn't good.
Okay.
I've heard people say it's stale. It's about it, but I don't agree with them.
Okay.
They can fuck me.
They can do what to you? Oh, fight you. I thought you said fuck. I was like, okay, at this. I mean, I guess if that's the direction you want to take it.
They can sit on my face.
All right. Well, yeah, we're going to see how it turns out. And it's going to be exciting to see how it all leads up into, of course, FanFest. That's like the highlight. This entire year, everything's leading into FanFest.
Leading up to FanFest.
Yeah.
The other aspect and the main reason I'll bring it up is because I feel like they're trying to make PvP lead into FanFest the same way at this moment. And I'm going to go ahead and just get your perspective. I know at this your Rival Wings, that's your PvP, right? Rival Wings, and that's it.
I haven't touched it for a little while. I would like to get back into the Feast, honestly. with
Yeah?
this new map. It looks like a lot of fun.
This is
I'm gonna give it
great.
another go.
Because you guys don't have a lot of experience with Feast and PvP currently, right? Balana, you don't do... Did you?
I mean, I'm not a huge fan of hotkey MMO PvP in general.
Right.
I agree.
I've like checked it out. I'll get my feet wet in it here and there, but I'm not hardcore into it or anything.
So, hearing what they've said about Feast, have you guys at least heard that, what they're doing with new maps and kind of the minor changes? Does that sound like it's, from your perspective as an outsider, interesting? Or does it sound kind of like, whatever, I don't care because I'm not going to play Feast anyways?
It sounds like they're trying to make it more kind of accessible, but in the same time, it sounds like they're getting rid of some of the strategy. It's because like they're capping how many medals each one of your classes can hold. So you can't be like, oh, I want to stack it all on our bard and have them run in circles back there or whatever.
In all honesty, it doesn't really remove that much strategy because people know what they're doing anyways. They're going to be doing that same stuff. There's still ways to screw up with it, and not a lot of ways. You do have to think a little bit more on your feet because some people can't get as many medals as maybe they would originally. For example, healer can only get 25, and all this other stuff they're doing. But I don't know. I'm the optimistic person in the PvP world, even in the PvP community. I think I'm one of the only optimistic people. But Ethys, you said you were going to get more interested maybe in Feast.
Yeah, every time there's a PvP update of any kind, like I give it an opportunity. I give it a chance to sort of grab me. And sometimes it grabs me for a couple of weeks, sometimes it grabs me for a couple of months, sometimes it doesn't grab me at all. So
right. Well, most people think, oh, Feast, yeah, this game isn't meant for PvP. It doesn't play right with PvP. Why would I even care about PvP? Even you have the people who are like, oh, why did I even put resources towards it? This is stupid. But PvP is a gold mine for MMOs if it's done right. I mean, you get people constantly coming back to play the game, and they don't want to play. They don't care about the story. They already rushed through all of the raids and everything else. Sometimes they'll do it.
When they're making PvP content, they're not taking the devs away from PvE content. It's a different team. It's a dedicated team that's making that stuff.
I mean, there's still the argument that they have to pay those people in that other team, and they could be hiring other people to do other stuff.
Yeah, sure. But that's less of like a Final Fantasy XIV dev team issue and more of like a Square Enix issue of like, hey, maybe you should give a little bit more budget to these people that are fucking carrying your whole business.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. Yeah, I'm definitely of the opinion that there are better, more intuitive PvP experiences than you get out of a tab target MMO. That said, I do like the fact that there's so many different things to do in Final Fantasy XIV. I like the fact that there's PvP in it, and I enjoy getting in there, like I say, when there's a new update, getting in there for a couple of weeks or a couple of months.
Yeah. I mean, how different would the game be without PvP? If there's no PvP in this game, I mean... what are we looking like? It wasn't
for the longest time.
Well, I mean, when did they introduced it in 2.2? Is that right?
2.1 or 2.2 for the fold.
Yeah, that's not too far afterwards.
Yeah, it was 2.2, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I mean, it's existed, but if they've never built on it, I mean, they would. I don't know. It doesn't feel right. Do you guys hear my dogs, by the way? Did you hear that bark?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Is it loud or is it just like? Eh?
Nah, it's all right.
Okay. Yeah. He's just protecting me. Anyways, with Feast and everything else, it seems like they're trying to put a little bit more effort in there, but it still doesn't have the community. It still doesn't have people back there like really dedicated to it. There are people dedicated to it, but there's not enough people past the dedicated people. Does that make sense? Absorbing the content and going in there and trying to play it and be kind of competitive.
It's PvP has never been a huge draw for the game as far as I've been able to tell.
But then they're adding in the light party edition where they're saying, hey, you can make a group of 4 to 6 people and we're going to start doing tournaments and we're going to start doing events and we're going to say, hey, you guys play at this time during this week to gain points and go up a ladder, and the people near the top are going to be part of these events. That seems like a decent amount of investment into it now.
Yeah.
I mean,
look, they really want it to take off, and I don't know. I keep getting the impression that Yoshida wants it to become some sort of like neo esport. and it's not. But they keep giving it opportunities to, and they keep sort of hoping that it will, if they like just sort of get the formula right or whatever. I think that it is a sort of fundamental thing about tab target MMOs that it doesn't deliver that super competitive experience. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have a problem with the investment that they're putting into it, again, because I think it's fun. I think it's nice to have lots of different things to do in the game.
Okay. So I'll tell this from my perspective. Okay, so my perspective is I log in and I PvP. Right, I don't do a lot of other things right now. I do a lot of Feast, and I do a lot of talking in the Discord with the tryhard losers and everything else. Saying that in full heart and seriousness to you tryhard losers. No, but I have a pretty good time. But it's a small community. It's like, if I had to put an estimate into how many people are actually kind of logging into PvP, out of all of the data centers, out of everyone that's out there, it's somewhere within like the 500 range of people that are actually out there active with PvP, and maybe like 1,000 people who are like, I enjoy PvP, I log in, I do it every once in a while, and then after that, there's like no one really cares past that point, and it's 1,000 people is not a lot of people. Right?
Sure isn't.
So it seems really weird that we have investment into it, although I appreciate it and I want them to put more effort into growing and getting more people into playing it. What would make you guys play Feast? Well, like, what would make you guys say, hey, Balana, you said you don't care about it because that's just not the style of PvP you like. Ethys, you enjoy it. Like you enjoyed Rival Wings and you enjoyed kind of being part of that. I mean, what would you say, hey, man, I want to actually go in there and be a part of this?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I really don't know. Again, I every time they do a new PvP update, I go, that looks interesting. I'll try it out. And I'm not sure whether, like on paper, whether it's going to be a thing or not. And sometimes it grabs me, sometimes it doesn't. I don't really know why. I don't really know why Rival Wings grabbed me, but I had a lot of fun with it. So,
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like again, for me, the community representative would be the game changer. That's just literally, that's their job, is to be the PvP game community representative, and they would go out there and talk with everybody and build and work on that community. Because right now,
the hype man, really.
Yeah, the hype man's.
I don't know if that would make any real difference, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, man. I feel like it could. Like, did you guys, Balana, you were there at FanFest. Ethys, you were there at FanFest. Did you, but I don't know if you, Ethys, I don't know if you actually watched the PvP tournament they did there.
I did not.
Balana, did you?
I watched you throw that match. And that
Okay, very good. Let's forget about that. But I mean, was it actually interesting to watch at all?
Because I know what the game's all about and I have context. It's like, it was kind of cool to watch in a big arena of people, but I didn't stay for any matches besides yours. So,
that's so sweet of you. I appreciate it. That was like the most embarrassing moment I think I've ever had, because I didn't expect to go on stage with absolutely no previous like real serious dedication to doing well in a PvP match, and I barely lost, if that makes any difference. And it was because I ran to the wrong base is why we lost. But other than that...
never gonna let you live that down, Frosty. I'm always gonna remember.
Man, next time I'm on stage doing PvP, it's gonna be phenomenal. You guys are gonna be like,
phenomenal?
What the hell? This guy's a god! And then
you working on your team for next FanFest already? Getting the squad lined up?
Man, I don't know if I can get a squad lined up for it, but maybe I might try it with some people who have similar interests, but I don't think I could get with the people who are really hardcore dedicated enough to make a team for it.
You got like 10 months.
I got 10 months, you're right. We'll have to see how the light party stuff works. If they have to build more interest in PvP for it to be a big highlight, than just a sideshow, like some sort of sideshow attraction at FanFest. You're like, oh look, it's kind of neat. There you go, done. But for people to look forward to it, they got to build the community.
I mean, I think a lot of the pushing they're doing for PvP is to try to draw in players that only like play MMOs for PvP.
Yes. I don't. So it seems like you're saying they need to draw more people in order for PvP to be better.
Mm-hmm. They do right
I
now.
kind of feel like they need to make PvP better in order to draw more people in.
Well, sure, but right now, there's two huge issues with PvP that detract people. I mean, you could talk about the system and how it works and everything else, but if you have no one playing it or at least queuing up to do it, then no one plays it or tries it. And right now, I have fun. I talk to people who try PvP for the first time.
That people are not like trying it.
I think that's part of the problem. I think if people tried it, I mean, they would have their complaints. They'd be like, oh, this is laggy, this person jumped around, or, oh, this didn't line up right, or the systems are a little bit off. But I think the system's simple enough and enjoyable enough that if people played it and had access to it, then it would be worthwhile.
That's interesting, because most people I know, they try it.
And they get destroyed, right?
Yeah, they get destroyed, or they farm for their mount or whatever it is, and they go, yeah, all right, okay, that was fine. I'll see you next time PvP comes around with a major update. Okay.
But do they try Feast, or is it all like Rival Wings?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know a lot of people that try Feast as well. It just doesn't seem to grab people again as like this sort of competitive, like log in and play every day kind of thing, like a lot of other competitive games do.
Okay.
And I think rank decay has something to do with that.
Well, yeah, because what happens is when a new Feast season starts, everybody just rushes to get to the highest rank they can, and then they stop. And they don't play it like after week 1 or 2.
Yeah,
because they're afraid to lose their rank.
Yeah, because there's no reason. There's no reason to. If you're already diamond and you get rewards or whatever, why keep playing?
Well, the reason to keep playing it would be if it was more fun.
Yeah, if it was enjoyable. Well, I mean, if you lose your rewards, even if it's fun, and you're like, you have to start valuing what is fun worth rewards. Like, what's the value? What do I value getting these rewards versus having fun and losing my rank? Because the higher you are, the worse people you'll have on your team, and the more likely you're going to lose, because they try to balance it out in some sort of manner or fashion. But when I'm playing and there's literally 10, 15 people queuing up at the peak hours on my data center, it's not that great. I don't know. Maybe if they added more incentives to say, hey, if I do PvP and I get these wolf's marks, I can make money off of it. Right? If I win matches or if I do something else, right now you get value. What do you get after playing these matches over and over again?
Wolf marks.
Wolf marks.
You don't need to incentivize people that much if it's fun.
True, but
again, when I was doing Rival Wings, I was having fun with it. I didn't give a shit about the incentives or the rewards or anything like that. It was just a good time, and then it sort of, I don't know, like it sort of carried me as far as it felt like it was going to carry me.
Okay, maybe I need to like do segments where I get people who have never played PvP or anything else, and just make them go into a feast match with other people who have never played, and just make them fight 8v or 4v4, and just see.
What, just at gunpoint?
Yeah, at gunpoint. And see if they have fun with it or not. Because I don't know. I feel like people just don't get the chance to actually do it.
You're standing behind them with the guns. Like, you're having fun, right? Like, yes, trust me, I'm having fun.
Because, I mean, it's enjoyable. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm weird. I have crazy sick interest or something. I don't know. Okay, so that's good for PvP. I think PvP has some sort of interesting outlook going in to 2018, but I think they have to nurture it. They have to do things. They have to go in and make changes. Make changes to make it more fun, right? At this, like, they have to say, hey, the community's saying this, maybe we should do something about this to make it.
Yeah, and I think Rival Wings was absolutely a step in the right direction.
They don't need to add robots and siege weapons in the feast. All right.
No, they don't need to add robots and siege weapons in the feast. What they need is these sort of fun, approachable game modes that act as a gateway for people to get into the feast. Right?
Okay.
And that's going to be how we measure the success of Rival Wings, is how many people sort of pick it up and go, oh, this is awesome, and sort of learn PvP, and then go, you know what, I'm going to try the feast, fuck it, and then get hooked on the feast. That's how you measure the success of it.
Yeah, I think these pre-made squads could pull some interest in.
Are you gonna have a
Yeah,
squad
I
at
think
this?
Huh?
You have a pre-made squad at this?
I won't make one. If someone invites me to a pre-made squad, I'll be like, yeah, sure. But I ain't raid leading that shit.
Not raid leading that shit. It's only 6 people. You can have a max of 6 people, and it's like a little personal chat that you have.
Listen, I have enough trouble getting myself out of bed.
Fair
All right,
enough.
without 500 people.
Fair enough. All right. Well, we'll see how that leads and ends up in there. Let's go on. We're done with PvP. PvP is not a huge topic. You know what is a huge topic? Blitzball, man. So
Yeah.
let's talk about Blitzball. Where's Blitzball at, guys?
Blitzball? We got underwater swimming. We're good. That's it. Blitzball. Let's do it.
Yeah, like most of the animations are there already.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a while. I don't think they've mentioned it since 4.0, but they're looking at it in development. They're trying to work out how to implement it into the game. Like, there's definitely stuff going on there.
If they do Blitzball, I'm hoping it's less like in 10 it was more of kind of like a management thing. I'm hoping it's more like you play a player on the Blitzball field kind of deal instead of more of like an overhead kind of controlling multiple players.
Yeah, I don't know how it would turn out, because if you're a player on the field, it would have to be something people queue into, and then they fight each other.
You just bring over the pre-made groups from Feast and make Blitzball teams.
Hey, Blitzball team, yeah.
You make the Xana grenades.
Look, I don't care how they do it. I just want it.
You just want to see it in there.
Yeah, Blitzball was actually my favorite part of Final Fantasy X.
Was it?
Yeah, I loved it.
Some people have mixed reactions about it. Some people hated it. Balana, did you play Blitzball in 10?
A little bit. It was a little too easy to break.
It's true.
In my opinion.
Is that why you liked it? Because it was easy to break?
No, I kind of like sort of micromanagement and stuff like that. Like, there's a huge market for like football managers and stuff like that, like those kinds of games. And it definitely scratched that itch for me. And I think that's again a kind of itch that you could be scratching in Eorzea.
Like maybe if someone had an RTS itch or something.
Oh yeah.
You know what? Let's.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, it's kind of weird. It feels like I'm depressed to think about Blitzball, because I'm like, oh, it'd be really cool, and then they implement it, and then it fades away in 2 days. It's just gone, and you can't find people to play with. You can't do anything else. It's just gone.
Maybe Verminion's still there. It still exists. Nobody plays it, but it's still there. It doesn't exactly fade away. There's a whole branch of the Gold Saucer. You can go like, hey, look, there's the Verminion machines.
They put
nobody there.
Look at all these cool things about this in this void that if you really were feeling sad and you need to be alone, you knew you could be alone in. So I guess we'll see. I mean, it's just sad that it's been, I don't know, 6-7 months and we haven't had a single update. Really,
Still no Blitzball.
No information, no tease, no nothing.
Terrible.
And this was one of the things that was like a main point. Like players were like, "Holy crap!" Or holy crap! Holy crap! There's actually Blitzball coming to this game. Underwater stuff. Wow, this stuff's gonna be like really cool, interesting. This makes sense. Let's see it.
I don't know if they actually confirmed Blitzball at any point.
They did,
but
they didn't confirm they were going to put it in the game. They confirmed that they were exploring it in development.
Okay.
2018. Are we going to see it? We have to see it in 2018, right?
Probably.
Sure, why not?
When else are they going to put it in?
4 or
I don't
5.
know. They could put it in 5.0.
Son of a bitch. I guess they could. We'll see how it turns. I'm hoping that they put it in. God, they better put it in this year. They better have it in, and they better do a Blitzball tournament at FanFest.
Yeah, at FanFest. That would be amazing.
That'd be the way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. FanFest. You guys are all going at this. You're going.
Of course.
It's expensive as shit for you to go.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the cheapest flight I'm gonna get is like 1,200 return. But I'll find the money. I'll work it out. I'm gonna be there one way or another.
Okay. Balana, you going?
Yeah, it's just a quick 4-hour drive for me. I actually might be moving to Vegas later this year.
Really?
It's in the cards. So it might just be a drive down the street for me.
Nice. Yeah, they're doing it at the Rio, which they've done it there before.
It's off the strip. It's kind of.
But I mean, I'm driving there, so it's not a big deal for me.
But I mean, if you want to like get a group together and try to go do something, like we're already starting some logistics for what we're going to do with the free company, and we're like, how are we going to get 60 people from the Rio to the strip? And we're like looking at it's only 1 mile off the strip, but that 1 mile walk, you're like, it's.
I made the walk. I was really disappointed because you're like, oh, the building is like right there. You see how it's right? I can see the building. I can definitely make it over there.
Yeah, you have to walk like over some freeways and
Yeah.
through some. Yeah, it's not a good scene. So we're looking at like, and then you're also on like one part of the strip that's, I can't remember what's exactly right by the Rio. I lived in Vegas a long time ago. So,
I remember being a little trashy between the 2 points.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't want to make that walk at night.
Really, Vegas a little trashy?
Well, I mean, it's like, you get outside of the strip and the lights and everything else, and then you get into like, this is just like a really bad city kind of area. So it's like not a bad city, but like not savory, right? There's no like flashing lights as you're just walking down the sidewalk. And there's
if you look down at any point in Vegas, I think you get that impression.
It's true.
The only reason you don't get that impression on the strip is because there's so many bright things to distract you.
Mhm.
But even the strip, like it's kind of. Anyone who lives in Vegas, like I love you, but it's kind of shitty.
Yeah, I'd say so. I don't know. The Rio wasn't bad though when I was there. I already got my hotel room for it.
I mean,
nice.
it's not a bad hotel. It's just being off the strip like that's a little bit unfortunate.
Yeah. The Paris was pretty cool. I guess it was Bailey's, right? Or Bally's. It was Bally's.
Yeah.
It wasn't the Paris where they had it. It was like right next door, basically.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
it was. It was the. Yeah.
It was the Paris, I think.
Was it the Paris or was it?
The Paris is
it
owned
was
by-
in the Paris, but it was cheaper to get the room at Bally's, and so we got the. Okay,
Yeah.
that's all right. I got the.
Even though it's the same building.
Yeah, you just literally just walk right over. But yeah, no, that was a really cool spot, man. I went around and saw some stuff off the strip, and I had a good time there. But I also went to 2014 at the Rio, and I didn't really mind it too much. But I had a car, so.
There's also going to be a big difference between 2014 and now. Is that in 2014 there were shuttles at the Rio you could take to the strip, and they don't have those anymore.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yep.
They don't have them anymore.
Yep. So those are gone. So luck.
Why would they take that away?
I don't know.
Fuckers.
It's not related to the event. It's the hotel itself. There's
Right.
shuttles.
I mean, you can go see a magic show
That's
or with.
It's like a
Penn and
20-minute
Teller?
walk.
Yeah.
Come on, it's like a fucking 20-minute walk.
Yeah, it's not that bad for Americans. That's really bad though.
Suck it up.
That is for Americans. You might as well just tell us to climb Mount Olympus real quick. You know?
Yeah. But no, I had a good time there. I got a little bit confused because that's the first time I was in Vegas. I think was for that. I don't think I've been to Vegas before. But Penn and Teller is there. It's like their hotel. It's not their casino, but they're like the big highlight of the casino is Penn and Teller. Do you know who Penn and Teller is at this? Yeah. No?
No, should I?
Magicians. There's a big one that talks a lot and a shorter one that's quiet.
Yeah, they're like kind of comedy magicians.
Oh, okay, all right,
Okay.
Elderly comedy magician duo. There you go.
That's
Penn
kind
and
of
great.
wow. All right, well, that's fine. I mean, if you probably Google it, you've probably seen them before. I think
No, probably.
Yeah. But I didn't see their show. I might see their show this time. But
Wait, you say Penn and
like PENN.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. I recognize the big guy.
Okay. Yeah, that's what most people recognize, I would think.
Okay, great.
Great. You sound so invested and interested
I'm
in this.
excited. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the other thing about FanFest, you guys are hyped for it, of course. Elysium's already planning stuff for 60 people, right? And to walk around and do stuff.
Eyeballing that much.
Yeah. Then we have Sunday, the Dead Day. Are you guys going to stay for Sunday?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to fly halfway across the world for 2 days. Like, I'll probably stay like 4 or 5 days.
Okay. Are you coming in like Thursday and then flying out Monday?
I'd like to. Yeah, I think I'd like to come in Thursday just so I can get over the jet lag a little bit. But again, we'll see. We'll see what my budget is.
Nah. Well, the only thing I really want to say about this is that there has to be enough in this year to get us hyped up for it. But is there any way they can fail and not get us hyped up for a FanFest? I mean, if they did nothing.
Oh, really?
And then just said, hey, we're probably going to announce an expansion here, then everybody would be hyped up and ready to go, right?
That's the biggest hype point of it is they always do the expansion announcements at those. So, and plus it's meeting all your internet buddies and meets.
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
I mean, the thing is, like, if Blizzard can get away with not releasing content for 12 months and then being like, oh, BlizzCon, we're going to announce a new expansion, and everyone, loses their shit, like, we'll be fine.
Okay. We were fine.
So do we? It's because this is our 2018 looking forward show. Do we want to make hot picks on what the new jobs are going to be?
Blue Mage and Dancer. I mean, I'm done. There's nothing else to think about. Yeah.
It's what people want. Yeah.
Balana. I mean, do you think anything else could be in there?
I mean, Blue Mage seems high, but I guess the big question is what roles would they be?
Blue Mage, Tank, Dancer, Healer. I mean, done.
Yeah, I agree. They're gonna do tank healer, and they've basically said as much that they plan on doing tank healer.
Unless if they're like, oh, we're only gonna do one job this year.
They won't do one job.
They won't. It'd be depressing.
There'll be a riot if they do one job.
Eh?
They won't do 3 either.
They already said they're never gonna do 3 again.
No.
All right,
I mean,
Balana, tell me.
There are a bunch of other jobs that like exist in the lore, but they give people what they want. Like Yoshida's a people pleaser. People have been asking for Blue Mage and Dancer since literally, the last reveal of the jobs. People were like, oh yeah, Blue Mage and Dancer, fuck yeah, and then they weren't. Everyone was like, oh. So that's what it's gonna be for sure.
Was the Spider-Man shirt? Threw everybody off.
Yeah, but everyone in the
Sam,
Japanese.
I really like the Sam Raimi films. Oh, Blue Mage! Wow!
Oh, you can see how that doesn't get translated well though, because that's only like a Japanese thing. It's
He
like Sam
literally
Raimi.
Sam Raimi.
Yeah, I guess so. Balana, do you have any other like insight besides what we've already said here with the jobs?
I'm gonna take a hot pick. Say we're getting calculator.
Calculator, really?
Everybody brush up on your maths.
Is that like, are you gonna, instead of how ninja has to hit like certain buttons or something to do their ninjutsu, are you gonna have to go to your numpad and like do like a quick calculation real quick?
You're gonna have to. There's gonna be multiplication tables that pop up, and you're gonna have to like fill those out and do damage with that.
It'll say, what's this divided by this? And you have to put in the answer real quick.
Exactly.
Faster? Okay.
Uh-huh.
But then aren't you basically just ACT at that point?
It's like ACT is completely required now on.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
How many times do you gotta wake yourself up, man?
Like every 5 minutes, I fall asleep a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense.
It's terrible.
All right. That's it. Like, Balana, I'm sorry. I didn't have anything more interesting to say about that, but I've already decided that was my answer, and I'm not doing anything else with that thought process. I'm pretty accepting of what's going to happen.
All right, well, when we do our 2019 show, we'll have to see how that works out for you.
Yeah.
Right now, Frosty picked a dancer and Blue Mage as healers and tanks.
And I'll be right, and I'll be like, holy shit, Frosty's a prophet, and then that will be done. I remember doing one of my year anniversary shows, and Sly at one point said Thancred was dead on one of our shows, and I made sure that was like a highlight going through the anniversary. Is that absolutely horrible predictions, because it is fun going back at the previous episodes. That's the one thing that I have a lot of fun doing, is going back on those previous episodes and seeing what people said about the game when we had no clue what was happening a year before or whatever. But we'll see. FanFest, everybody go there. Go ahead and plan it, by the way, too, if you guys haven't planned for it. When they put the tickets up for sale, you got to be there refreshing as soon as it's up for sale. No doubt. There's so many people who didn't get tickets because they weren't prepared to make a sacrifice of, hey, I'm not going to work this 1 hour while these tickets are going out.
And is that like 11 a.m. or something like weird time like that? So I was like sitting at my desk at work, just like refresh.
Yep. You only get like 4 tickets max usually.
I bought all 4.
Yeah.
And 3 of them.
Yeah, and sold 3. You little fucking scalper.
And they were the guildmates, so it's okay.
That's true. A lot of people do it so they can get it to their friends, and it works out pretty well. I gave out one for a MogTalk reward giveaway, and only like 60 people were there. They were like going for it. I'm like, that's a pretty good chance to get a free ticket to FanFest. So there you go. And hopefully they do merchandise lines better.
Hopefully.
Yes. Yeah, they learned their lesson. It was a little bit better for the European and Japanese ones. So.
Yeah, I think they got it.
I think we're just going to order our stuff online. Then they're going to give us a receipt. They're going to say, here's your number. Come pick it up at this time. And
that'd be a smart way to do it.
In line for 6 hours, because that was ridiculous. That was so stupid.
Yeah.
Guys didn't buy any merch there.
Yeah. The people who got in line, he was like, hey, I'm about to go up here. Do you want me to buy you anything? And it was Denzing. This guy's been on the show a couple of times. And I was like, yeah, man, buy me a couple of sweaters. I gave him like $100 to go up there. And when he went and bought his stuff, because they did tickets eventually. They're like, hey, everybody has a ticket. Then you come up when your ticket's called. That's the only way I got around it. But yeah, no, I didn't get any merchandise. I do have this really cool fat Chocobo that I got from the NA team. They're pretty awesome. Did you get one at this? Did they mail one out to?
I got a Christmas Moogle.
Christmas Moogle? So you got a Moogle instead?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, I gotta get it. I'm proud of it.
I got mine upstairs somewhere.
I didn't get anything. Not cool enough. Not quite cool enough.
It's right here.
Oh, he's beautiful.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, right?
That's great.
I love it, dude. I'm gonna keep it for the rest of my life. When I'm like 90 years old, they'll see it in a corner like, hey, do you want to throw it in the box? No. That's fucking staying up on a mantle for quite a while, dude. All right. So that being said, let's start talking about us. I mean, we talked a little bit about Final Fantasy. I guess we could talk about us and our interest. Balana, I want to talk about your interest here. I guess maybe yours might be aligned a lot with Elysium and going forward and everything else. I mean, what's 2018 and you looking like for Final Fantasy 14?
For Final Fantasy 14 and me, I'm winding down a little bit. I was pushing pretty hard and trying to get into some like world progression teams. I'm hitting the brakes a little bit, but hopefully the guild is not at this point. I'm still involved in leadership with them for now, so I'm trying to steer them as best as I can towards victory in any way that I can. I'm starting to stream a little bit more. I got that affiliate status back in December. So hopefully I'll be. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll be able to keep at that. I was meaning to keep it a bit more, but I've been pretty bad since the new year. So hopefully you can go hop on over to twitch.tv/Ojobo, and hey, there's the shout out.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. But yeah, no, dude. Guys, please check him out. We're not doing the closing parts here, but yeah, if you're doing any streaming, it'd be interesting. That like streaming's been hard for me. Like I haven't streamed in quite a while either. Just because I don't know what I can do with my life right now when it comes to streaming and me. I just don't have availability anymore, and I have to make decisions like, do I want to go down the path of leaving my job at some point to start streaming for something that will earn me maybe 10% of what I'm earning right now? Is that even remotely feasible? Yeah, look at Ethys. He's like, yeah, you should do it.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
No, I mean, like that's the conundrum, and it is like it's really tough because if you don't commit to it full time, then you don't get to the point where it can make you a full-time income.
Right. You literally have to sit there and spend dedicated time every single day, and that's something like a lot of people I can't do. I mean, Kerr, she works 6 days a week. Sometimes 10 to 14 hours a day.
Yeah.
Gets a day off a week, and so when she's working, I'm like, yeah, I'll stream. But if she's not working, I'm like, I'm sorry, guys. There's nothing I'm doing this day, so I can't have a consistent schedule in that way. And plus, my work isn't a 9-to-5 job. It's a whenever the fuck they need me job.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that makes it absolutely impossible to keep anything consistent. If you can't stay consistent, then how do you make a successful stream?
Exactly. That's the thing. You just got to commit to eating beans out of a can for like 3 years.
Yeah. and then eventually you start, eating spam out of a can.
Yeah, which is where I'm at the moment. And, I sometimes like I get like a little bit of toast and put my beans on some toast. It's good.
Yeah, I'm getting fancy.
Yeah.
But it's fun. I mean, when I'm like, hey, I'm going to stream now, it's kind of a social thing. A few people show up and we talk shit for like a few hours, enjoy the game, do PvP or do a different game or do whatever I'm doing. Probably some raid stuff in 4.2. And that's what it's kind of for me. I don't know if that's kind of where you're running to, Balana, or if you're going to take it kind of seriously, run full force and say, I got me a dedicated stream schedule.
I'm not quite there yet, especially because I haven't streamed in like 2 weeks. So
Okay. New Year's resolution: you gotta stream 3 hours a day.
I'm already 13 days behind on that. So.
All right. Ethys, what are you looking like 2018, dude?
Well, in regards to Final Fantasy 14, I'm trying to push really hard for more Australian, New Zealand representation.
Mm-hmm.
There's a group of really awesome people in the Australian community that have got a Facebook group that they're trying to like spread to like other social media platforms, but they've got like, I think it's like 2,500 members at the moment, which is pretty good. And as a result, we got a Final Fantasy 14 booth out at PAX here for the first time ever, PAX Melbourne, which was in October, and Square Enix sent me down there to like MC and sort of host the booth and like provide commentary and entertain people and stuff like that. And that was awesome. So basically we're pushing for Australian servers. We want Australian servers. We want an Australian New Zealand community team. So we're kind of pushing really, really hard for that. And that's like a lot of what I'm doing in game and around the game at the moment. Personally, again, I'm in that sort of period between eating beans and being able to eat spam occasionally. Because I've made that commitment that I'm doing Twitch full time, even though it's like, I mean, it's paying the bills most of the time,
Right?
and I'm not hungry most of the time. So I've kind of decided to make that commitment, and I'm just like pushing that sort of as hard as I can. And I've got new projects and stuff that I'm working on moving into the new year. So yeah, it's going good.
Okay.
Living the dream, baby.
It's amazing, dude. I'm glad to hear it though. I mean, for some reason, like going to your stream is like enjoyable to me. I'm going to say this as someone who streams on Twitch. I think a lot of stuff on Twitch is very cringy and very
I agree.
horrible, and I
agree.
don't enjoy a lot of it. But like going to your stream for some reason is kind of relaxing. Like, hey, I'm just kind of listening and hanging out and being part of something that feels not stupid and cringy.
Well, in terms of like streamers and YouTubers that I really respect and I really enjoy, is I like them to be approachable. I like them to be like sort of genuine human beings, not like these character actors that are like, putting on this performance, because like you say, it ends up being like super cringy and super like disingenuous. So yeah, like basically what you've described, that's the kind of environment that I want people to be able to have, the space that I want people to be able to have. And I'm really enjoying it. It's good fun. Yeah.
And if you can't enjoy what you're doing and you're not making a lot of money doing it, then why would you even want to do it? Like I can't see myself going out there and jumping around and doing all these stupid things to try to bring people in. That's just like completely forced. They're like, oh well, the people I don't really care to even be around. This is attracting those people in.
Yeah.
Why I can't even see myself thinking about doing that. Which is why I'm not a successful streamer, I guess, is a reason to it. But I'm okay with that. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with being a small streamer.
Yeah.
If you're smart about it, you can still make a living. So
Yeah. There you go. So we'll see how it all works out. I'm gonna ask for your guys' opinion in regards to like MogTalk 2018. All right, I'm gonna ask you guys some questions because you're kind of familiar with the show and everything else. I mean, you're not like, you know,
A little bit.
yeah,
vaguely.
yeah, vaguely. All right. So I've been thinking about it. I'm like, all right, well, I have certain abilities and things that I can't do. I have a life behind everything else. And so when we're talking about MogTalk, I can't dedicate every single weekend. I can get close, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes I can make it to where I only miss like 5 or 6 shows a year. But the whole format of MogTalk is we bring people on and we talk about something that I find interesting. Whether it's talking about lore for an episode, whether it's interviewing people who did the ultimate race, whether it's doing something about like people who put on plays in, you know, A Stage Reborn, just bringing them on and talking to them for a while. Just things that are kind of interesting to me. But for some reason, it feels like when we start talking about consistency, it's not consistent in interest, right? It's consistent in like you have some sort of variety every single week, and it's not going to be for everybody every single week. And so it's not something that you would tune in for every single week. And I don't know if MogTalk needs to be something else or if it's fine just doing that every single week, putting together a show, bringing on one particular topic that people want to see. Or
the thing is, if you sort of double down and you focused on, I'm just going to make a show about the things that like attract the larger audience or whatever, then it would get tedious for you as a content creator, right?
True.
It would get repetitive. It would get boring. The reason MogTalk works for me is precisely because you just talk about whatever you're passionate about at the time and whatever you want to have a conversation about at the time. And there's not forced and there's not contrived. And you're right that, you know, some topics are appealing to like a larger number of people, others you know, not as much, but that's the thing that like all good content creators go through. It's either that or you're like the clickbait hype man that's super disingenuous and just pretending to be excited about the same asinine, tedious bullshit week after week after week.
Right.
So I think you're killing it, dude. And I think the 120 people in chat right now would agree.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you say it at the beginning of every show, it's between Savage Rating and Chocobo Racing and everything in between.
Right.
And I think you do a good job of kind of covering what's happening in the community at that moment. And I think if you try to refocus and not be as generalized, then you kind of miss your opportunities at being topical from week to week.
Okay. Well, the other things that I was thinking about when it comes down to the show is what other options, if I didn't do it the same way, what it would be. All right. And so the other topic would be like, hey, what if the show was based, maybe I didn't do it every single week. Maybe I did it every month, but it was a bigger show every single month. And then we kind of layered in some topics in there. Like we had an hour or two of rating and like an hour or so of like some variety topic and then like an hour of like something else that people might be interested in.
I mean, I think you might be hitting towards the inaccessible sides of length if you try to like kind of stack them together like that. Because even when we had that great show about Ultimate, when we put it on Reddit, when you put it on Reddit, people were like, this is 3 or 4 hours. What the fuck is this? I'm not going to watch it. So I think if you're stacking things together, it kind of intimidates people. Like 1 to 2 hours, like your typical shows are, I think is a bit more approachable than throwing out a massive chunk every month.
Are you having more trouble with finding time to record, or are you having more trouble with finding time to like produce a show?
I think I could produce it a lot better. It's just I know that I'm not going to be dedicated like at the same time every Saturday. This is the closest I can be to being dedicated every single week. But I know that I can't produce that every single week.
I mean, you do as much as you can, and this isn't your full-time job, so people can't really fault you if you miss a week here and there. Yeah,
that's true. So I guess we'll see how that plays out going forward, because I enjoy the fact that I can come on here and then I can say, hey, I'm going to hone in on this topic and talk about this topic and, produce it as much as I can. There's only so much I can do. I would love it if I could be like, hey, I'm a talk show. I come on every single night and we talk for an hour every single night and we have a conversation. I bring on guests and then I have a 30-minute segment about some or something weird where someone goes out and interviews people or something. Like an actual talk show, that would be great. But there's no way that's in my ability.
You need a producer, like at the very least.
Yeah, I would need someone going around handling the stuff in the background, not, someone recording and using OBS and handling all the layouts and the scenes and everything, having me just completely focus on that. And within this, there's no way to do that with a zero budget. I don't know. Weekly shows, it seems nice. It seems like it's not too hard to do. And I don't want to every single week try to say, hey, I'm going to force this kind of topic on you, because not everybody cares about... Well, see, here's the thing. People are like, hey, you need to do more job shows. But it seems kind of weird doing a job show every single week.
I mean, those videos are very popular. Your YouTubes of them get a whole lot of hits. I think doing one when there's reason to would be a way to do it, because we've done couple 2-3 caster shows now, and that's kind of lined up with major changes in the caster meta, at least. I don't know, too knowledgeable about how many other class shows you do, because I'm
Well, I mean, sometimes I will have a show, particularly like I would say this is the Paladin show, or this is the Astrologian show, or this is the Healer show, and I try to group them all together, but that kind of depends on
I mean, it comes back into what I was saying, is that you try to be topical every week. And if you were just doing job shows all the time, they're not necessarily going to be topical. And I don't think that'd be as engaging for you to create content on.
Right. And I guess we'll see. MogTalk might have some changes this year. We might have, I have to think about it. I have to think how it's all going to fit in. I mean, the weekly part where I'm going in and I'm having a conversation about a particular topic every single week, is some, again, not popular, some are popular. I feel like you're right. It just needs to be something that is something that's topical. Like, hey, there's some changes. There's worth a conversation here. It's not like, hey, I'm just going to force a conversation. You're like, oh, well, we don't have anything to talk about this week. Fucking bananas, man. There's bananas in this one part of the zone, and we're just going to talk about bananas this week. I don't think that would be interesting. But I also think it's actually interesting to go in and grab the things that aren't topical, and that's when I'm going into things. Well, I guess when I interviewed A Stage Reborn, they were doing one of their big events when we were doing that last year. We'll see.
I don't know. I've come on shows where it's just like titled Morning Coffee, and the sheet was just like, I don't know what we're going to talk about today. Come on, Balana. Like, okay.
It was fun.
Yeah, and those still worked out. I mean, they I don't know if they're as good for everybody else as well, but
it's nice every once in a while to just say, hey, I'm not going to go through this whole big planning phase. We're just going to come on and talk about things in general, because we don't do that a lot on MogTalk. Today's kind of a general topic show, I guess, right?
A little bit. We hopped around a little bit.
We hopped around a good bit. At this, how many alarms did you have go off during the show?
Like 4 or 5. I told you I have trouble getting out of bed, right?
No, it's okay. I mean, doesn't your phone automatically do that? Like, if you don't turn it off the right way, it'll just go off and like it'll snooze it.
Yeah.
But I mean, you have it to where no matter how you turn off your alarm, it's just going to do.
It's gone. Yeah.
Nice, man. All right. Well, we'll see how that pans out for the future, man. I don't know. Frosty streams in particular, they're going to be sporadic. I don't think I'm going to have a dedicated stream. I'm going to try. I love getting up there and having fun. I don't think I'm going to stream Final Fantasy every time I do a stream either. I think it's just going to be whatever I want to do that night. MogTalk will stick to Final Fantasy, of course, but everything else is just going to be...
You did variety streams back in the day.
Yeah, I did some. But I don't know. I feel like if I just stick to Final Fantasy, that will overly drain me.
Yeah, you burn out on it. And that's the thing. Like, I have that problem all the time, right? Where you're playing a game that's not Final Fantasy 14 and you get like, less than half the views and people are like, oh, what the hell? Did you quit Final Fantasy 14? No, I didn't quit. I just like playing other games.
Yeah.
So my general rule of thumb, which I think is like a pretty good one, is you've got to split like 50-50 or like at most 60-40 between what people want and what people expect you to do, and like the other shit that you just personally want to do and keeps you sane.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes sense. But there's not going to be any. For me, there's not going to be consistency with it. It's not going to be like every single night I'm going to stream or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll just see how it pans out. When I can stream, I'm going to stream. I'll stream some Final Fantasy. I'll stream some variety, because that kills me just thinking about, like, if I dedicate all my free time to playing Final Fantasy, how many games did I just miss out on? Man,
It's true.
Yeah.
there's so many other games out there to play. And I like playing variety games on stream more than I like playing variety games sometimes by myself. Because then I feel like I'm going through this whole adventure. Like when I played Soma. I don't know if you guys ever played Soma. But it's a pretty... Oh, you guys have? Did you guys like that?
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I felt like that was a
psychological thriller.
Yeah, it was interesting to play and go through this kind of experience with stream, sort of.
I know what you mean with that. Like playing through single player games by myself, I just find it really boring now. Like you want to share the experience, you want to go on a journey with,
Yeah.
the people on stream.
Yeah. So we'll see. It completely not 100% relevant to it, but sort of. Have you guys watched Black Mirror, the episodes that came out?
I just started watching the show in general. I'm like through this on
Really?
the second season, I think. I haven't watched the new stuff yet now.
I've watched just a couple of episodes of Black Mirror.
You don't like it, Ethys?
It's all right.
Yeah.
Like it's okay. I think they're interesting little thought experiments.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's all it is a whole bunch of thought experiments, to be honest.
It's modern Twilight Zone with social
yeah,
media.
exactly. Yeah, and I think that's a good way to put it. No, I'm way more interested in new episode of Star Trek Discovery. It's coming out in a couple of days.
I've not watched it at all. So
Well, come on, you can catch a new STD every week. Star Trek Discovery STD. Catch a new one every week.
I got it. Yeah. Everybody loves STD. Jesus fuck. Okay, well, I mean, that's pretty good. I think that kind of goes over a lot of stuff that I want to talk about going forward. This is a good starting show to the year for me, even though it's 2 weeks late. It's still good for me, I think.
It's all right.
Better late than never.
Yeah,
Most people still on holidays, dude.
that's true. How was your holiday, by the way? At this, just
Oh, it was nice. Went down the coast, sort of a quiet seaside country town. Kangaroos in the backyard, which you don't really get in Sydney, which is always really cool. Just did a bit of surfing, bit of fishing.
I thought you were going out of country for your holiday. I
No.
thought no, you're staying in country.
No, just go down the south coast. Yeah, just south coast of New South Wales. Yeah, it's
Okay.
good.
Well, awesome, man. Did you punch any kangaroos?
I did not punch any kangaroos. No,
All right.
because the thing about kangaroos, if you punch them, they'll disembowel you.
Well, that one guy was successful in that one video.
Oh, when it was choking out his dog,
Yeah.
that was a very small kangaroo. To be fair,
Oh, yeah?
yeah, like red kangaroos, they can get up to like 7 feet tall.
Yeah, and look up like a picture of a hairless kangaroo. They are like buff and
Yeah,
jacked.
so ripped.
They're
Yeah.
scary as fuck. And so, like,
And
that's
they do
when everyone
things
jokes
where
about it.
They sit up on their tail, right? And they I don't know if you've seen their feet, but their feet are like that long and they got claws on them. And they sit up on their tail and they just like kick you in the chest and they just
You're dead.
they don't kill people, but they will break like all of your ribs.
Okay. All right. Well, good that we know not to mess with kangaroos now. Good MogTalk educational here.
Glad we covered that.
Yeah, that's good. All right, we can go ahead and start wrapping up and everything. I appreciate you guys coming on today. I think it was nice to have this conversation. And to be honest, I love you guys. I really do.
I love you too, man.
You guys are awesome. You're the people I would like to just have a normal conversation with. And, I don't want to bring someone on here that I don't want to have a good conversation with. So there you go. And at this, you're coming on from, more or less shows about things other than just stories. So
Yeah, who knew that
you had anything else about you.
Wow.
Yeah.
How about that?
All right, Balana, we already did a shout out for you, but go ahead and do your kind of shout outs for everyone else and telling people where they can find you and all that stuff, because they already know where they can find you, but I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, we can get through this here again. Yeah, so I'm Balana or Joe. You can find me on Twitter at Balana Raw. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/YoJobo. You can check out the exploits of my free company at elysium.gg. And shout outs to everybody on Gilgamesh. We're back open. Woo!
Yeah, there you go. Pete, you guys, if you want to go to Gilgamesh again, feel free to.
Yeah.
Are we seeing an influx of players come to Gilgamesh?
It's a lot better.
Oh,
it is so much better.
I haven't really. I'm the worst social person on Gilgamesh. Like, I log in and I just go to wherever and don't pay attention to anything that's happening around me. I just don't care. Like, my free company, I'm sure there's lots of stuff going on in a free company and they've been great for me, but like, I don't pay attention to anything that's happening inside my free company at all. I don't know any little personal things that are going on. I need a rating stuff anymore. I don't know anything. I just stick to myself.
Man, it's hard to keep up with all that.
Yeah.
All the FC drama.
I keep up with more with Twitch and everything else, that whole community, than I do anything else inside the game. So, all right, Ethys, go ahead and tell everybody who you are. Shout out the people that you want to shout out to. Hey, Balana, did you shout out anybody? Did you say like thank you to anyone?
Yeah, thanks to you, Frosty, for coming on the show here. Letting me on the show.
You want to say?
Thanks for coming on, Frosty. I appreciate you coming on the show today.
Yeah. I mean, you finally showed up. We've been trying to do this for weeks.
We finally showed up. All right, Ethys, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for having me as always, dude. It's always great fun. We have great conversations. You guys know who I am, but you can find me on twitch.tv/EthysAsher. You can find me on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, wherever, Ethys Asher. There are new lore videos on the YouTube. The YouTube's been a little bit quiet for a while, but you gotta check out the YouTube. There's actually a lore tour that I put up a couple of days ago on Rabanasta, and it's a really good one. So,
all right,
check it out.
There you go, guys. Please check out these amazing people. Balana, whenever he streams, I don't know. Ethys always streams. He'll be there at some night. Yeah, you'll find him. Don't worry about it.
Most of the time.
Make sure you follow Balana and you turn on notifications though, because you have to know. You just have to. He'll just magically pop up one night.
I have no real set schedule yet, so
yeah.
I'll usually tweet. I'm getting good about tweeting when I go live, at least. So
there you go. To be honest with you, I don't keep Twitter up constantly, so like that works for some people.
I keep Twitter up constantly.
Really?
You need a monitor dedicated just having your tweet deck.
Yeah.
Maybe I do. I don't know. I go on there when I get bored. I'm tired of looking at Reddit. I'm like, I'm going to look at what people want, and then half of it's like half naked, like Makotes, and I'm like, well, I'm kind of tired of that.
Follow, dude.
It is, and then half of it's in Japanese, and I'm just like, all right, cool. That's just how my Twitter works, I guess. But guys, thank you for coming on the show. It's been amazing. Definitely thank you everyone who is here watching the show. I appreciate you guys as well. I plan to do another show next week. We plan to have one next week. I think we will have one. The topic is still pending. The people coming on is still pending. But once that's solid, I'll go ahead and put that on Twitter. So guys, follow me on Twitter, Frosty Stream TV. I think that's what it is, isn't it? Frosty Stream TV, isn't it my Twitter? It's Frosty TV Stream. There we go.
Are you fucking kidding me, dude? Hey guys, what's my Twitter again?
There we go. It's right there. Follow me on Twitter.
Frosty TV Stream.
Yeah. And so I'll tell you guys everything that's going on with the show coming up this weekend. And hopefully it'll be a guest that you guys are all hoping to see. But we'll see, guys. Anyways, thank you as well to Kerr for my emotional support at home all the time. Thank you to the moderators in chat. Thank you everybody who's been a part of supporting MogTalk and everything else, even with the month lull here. And with that being said, I'll see you guys next week. Have a wonderful time. Hopefully we'll get some cool information about, I think it's Friday, right? Friday, we're going to get some more information.
Yeah.
So
Friday, live letter. Don't miss it.
Yep. There you go, guys. Anyways, stick around. We're going to host somebody soon. Remember to be good, keep cool, and stay frosty. Hi.
Stay frosty. Hey.
Hey. I did the thing. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Say bye, Balana.
Bye-bye.